Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Xoxo, this is Xoxo Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading that I have not yet decided what to call it, we are going to be looking at your authentic self, looking at how you can step into it more deeply, and also at how stepping into your authentic self will not only change your life, but change the world around you. So looking at what we're going to go over in this reading, I put true self because I was running out of space. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by looking at your authentic self. So obviously you are much more multi-dimensional than 5 oracle cards, so it's absolutely okay if you feel drawn to more than one pile. It's quite possible that there's multiple elements of authenticity you have yet to step into, but the only thing that matters is whatever I am describing sounds like a part of you that you would like to step more deeply into, or just a part of you in general. And then if that resonates, we're going to move into the tarot, and we're going to look at how to embody more of your authentic self, because it's easy to think that we're being our authentic self when we're still hiding ourselves. So this is not how to be your authentic self in theory. This is how to embody your authentic self in reality. Practical steps, practical tools. Then we're also going to look at how to remove blockages around being your authentic self and embodying it. We're going to look at how embodying your authentic self, so doing step 1, will change the world and the world around you. And finally, we'll look at blessings you'll receive from embodying your authentic self, because not only should it be easy, but also you will receive blessings when you do that. And we're going to finish off by getting guidance from Gaia, say that 5 times fast, and just see what Mother Earth has to say, because part of embodiment is the human aspect. It literally has body in it. So really excited to do this reading today. It started off as an idea around service and like how you can serve others by being yourself, but I think that idea of service kind of fits in with this, and I wanted it to be more focused on just embracing your true self and how by doing that you can help yourself and help the world. You know, the world needs more authenticity. And with that being said, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who encourages me to be myself and encourages me to unapologetically be myself. You guys are the best, and I'm sure you know it's very hard to be your authentic self on the internet, because some people just want you to be a mindless content monkey, and I'm not a mindless content monkey. So thank you to everyone who supports me and encourages me and forgives me for when I apologize too much for being myself. I hope this reading can serve as a little bit of a returning the favor and helping you embrace yours. So we have 4 different groups for you to choose from today. So starting with pile 1, we have this Druzy agate flower, and we are going to be using the Sleepwalker's Tarot. And then for pile 2, we are going to be using the Lightseer's Tarot, and I have this aura-coated fluorite on top. And if anyone's seen Evangelion, it kind of looks like the angel Romuald, so I think we're gonna call this guy Romuald. And then for pile 3, we are going to be using the Prism Tarot, and I have this, I think it's strawberry quartz moon on top. And then finally for pile 4, we are going to be using the Embroidered Forest Tarot, and I have this Malachite cube on top. So with that being said, intro squad, sound off. It's time to make a wish, and it's time to look at our mini reading. So in case you guys don't know, my newest candle is out. It is the Lovers. I love this candle. It smells so good. It smells like strawberries and champagne. So what we're going to do, if you're unaware, each tarot candle comes with its own tarot card. So whatever tarot card inside is going to be the mini message for everyone here, and we are also going to make a wish. If you are interested in getting any candles, be sure to use code Xoxo10 for 10% off. And I also wanted to mention March 17th, I am going to be going live with my candle maker Maggie on Instagram at 4 p.m. I will obviously post about this closer to the event, but if you guys are interested, I'm going to be reading, and we are going to be doing a live candle sale. So let's go ahead and see what your mini message is. And we have the King of Swords here. So I'm going to interpret this in a second, but I think we should do the wish first. So, oh, and I should also mention the Lover's Candle also comes with its own little mini rainbow charm, which we love. I love rainbows. I love cheesecake. I love cheesecake at nighttime. Anyway, if you would like to make a wish, if you'd like to pause the video and just focus the intentions of your wish and just put all the energy into the candle, feel free. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a little secret wish so it comes true. And may your wishes, my wishes, and all our wishes come true. So they will. Okay, that's that. Let's look at the King of Swords now. So for some of you, this could be related to an air sign person that you have in your life, or maybe that you had in your life at one point, and maybe this energy is coming out because this person could have done something to make you feel like you couldn't be your authentic self, and maybe part of the reading is going to be helping healing that. But for a lot of you, I really feel like this King of Swords is talking about you and is really encouraging you to not let your mind get in your own way. You know how sometimes you can be so smart that you're stupid? I think that it's really easy to overthink things, and with this King of Swords being here, I feel like this is an encouragement for everyone here to remember that your mind isn't everything, and just because it's your perception doesn't mean it's true. I definitely think if you tend to look at things logically or tend to deny your own beliefs or deny your own spiritual experiences because they don't quote unquote make sense, I think you're really being encouraged to let go of that. With this King of Swords though, if any of you are going into an interview in the near future or have some sort of presentation or important school thing, I feel like this is a huge encouragement to embrace your own intellect and trust that you have everything you need to be successful. I feel like this is like a multi-message of not only recognizing how intelligent you are, but also not letting yourself use that intelligence to sell yourself short or shoot yourself in the foot. This King of Swords energy for you is about realizing that just because the mental, rational body is what is most supported in our world doesn't mean that it's always the right one. But it's also a reminder that your own intellect is far more powerful than you realize. So make sure you're paying attention to what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your reality, because whatever you do believe will come true. So this is a reminder to use that mind for good, use it to serve your heart, and use it to help yourself. Use it to help you help yourself. You know, I believe it's Albert Einstein that says that the rational mind is a servant and the intuitive mind is, I can't remember what it says, but we have is it like a wise something? I don't know. Albert Einstein said a good quote about the importance of the intuitive mind, and he talks about how in our society, we have a society that serves the servant and not the wise leader that our intuitive bodies can be. So remember, anxiety screams, intuition whispers, and if you're having trouble listening to your intuition, really ask yourself, is it because I'm not making space? Do I need to work on training my mind to quiet it? But also, with this King of Swords, circling back to what I was talking about in the beginning, if anyone that is considered intelligent has told you that you can't do something or that you're not capable of something, or they're trying to tell you how you are or how things are, this is a reminder that that's just their perspective, and that doesn't mean it has to be your truth, and you don't have to accept it as such. Use that powerful mind of yours to affirm your value, to affirm your worth. Remember that I love you to the moon and back, and that you should love yourself too. And so I really hope this reading today will be a powerful opportunity for you to see how you are already perfectly made, and how by just letting yourself be yourself, you can not only open yourself up to more blessings, but also up to more abundance and make life easier for yourself. So Go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. Like I said, it's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. You'll be able to tell with the beginning portion whether the reading is for you or not. Once you have picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have the timestamps listed below, and I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile one. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Druzy Agate Flower and the Sleepwalker's Tarot, I've never used this deck before, so you guys are the first to use it. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. So we're going to go ahead and start by looking at the elements of your authentic self that Spirit wants to highlight. If these resonate, this reading is for you. If they don't, I would pick another pile. If you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro. And there's a little thank you in the intro to all of you that have encouraged me to be my authentic self. So please do check that out if you ever have, and thank you. But okay, let's go ahead and look at your authentic self and what Spirit wants to highlight about you. So to start, we have the riddle. I feel like some of you are already laughing. We have restoration, and yes, these gorgeous ladies have washi tape blankets on because YouTube, for some reason, doesn't appreciate the human form. We have the knight, and light attributes are loyalty, romance, chivalry, a love of honor, and shadow attributes are allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. We have the horse, and we have Chiron with healing. Healing powers, growth, amends, release, personal development, inherited issues, self-doubt, generational trauma, shame, sensitivity, forgiveness, superpowers, divinity, cleansing, softness, pain. This is really beautiful, and I actually really love this. Some of you might be earth signs, especially Taurus. Taurus or Libra could be significant because we have Venus here, but pile one, the first thing that I want to say about you is one thing about your authentic self is that you are an enigma, and you're not meant to be fully self-actualized, at least not in the way you expect yourself to be. And it doesn't matter how old you are, but part of your gift in this lifetime is there's always more layers to uncover. I definitely feel like sometimes you take for granted how deep your gifts go, how deep your wisdom runs, and how deep and powerful your heart is. The fact that we have the horse here, you are so powerful. Like when you put your mind to something, we have a horse here twice. So horses could be a significant animal. Maybe you were born in the year of the horse, or maybe you just like horses. I'm a horse girl, so shout out to the other horse girls, boys, and people out there. But this horse is all about, like, it's a horse, of course, expansive movement, force, freedom, never gives up, is able to accomplish anything they set their mind to. And I feel like that energy within you, you know you have, but I would not be shocked if you get frustrated a lot because it feels like you know you should be capable of more, but for whatever reason, there's either external blockages or blockages within yourself that stop you from being able to get done as much as you would like to. And I think that's for a good reason. I think it's partially because if there were no external or internal barriers to stop you from moving forward, you could go really far off track or neglect yourself so much that you could actually be like your health could be in danger, or your needs could be in danger, or you could even become so focused on an ideal that doesn't actually align with your heart, or that is a waste of your gifts and resources. The fact that we have the riddle here, like, you are certainly an enigma and you're not meant to fully understand yourself. I don't want to say like in this lifetime, because I think that we're like a constant unfoldment of understanding, but you are a puzzle for a reason. And a lot of you is not, and a lot of this authenticity within yourself is not something that you're meant to solve, but rather uncover as you move into yourself more. I would not be shocked if you've had some really hard experiences growing up, or if you experienced a lot of pain from being loyal to abusive people or people that didn't have your best interests at heart. When you are committed, you are committed. Like, you are the epitome of ride or die, and that is a beautiful thing, but it can be so dangerous depending on what you're riding for. And I think in your case, you have had difficult lessons around realizing like, wow, okay, I have to be careful of who I'm loyal to. And like, I have to be careful of who I give my time and energy to, because they will just take advantage of me. You are an endless well of energy. And I feel like that gets tempered by your need for rest and exhaustion, or your need for rest. And then also like, you might exhaust yourself sometimes, like, and that might really frustrate you, but that's for a good reason. Your authentic self is not meant to push so hard. Like when you are meant to be going full force, I'm thinking of like the iDubbbz documentary where there's an iDubbbz documentary called Full Force, and I think it's really cool. Maybe you want to watch that. Maybe there's something significant there. But, you know, that documentary, I think, even though it's a YouTuber's documentary, that, I mean, there's a lot of authenticity there, and I see it as a celebration of, you know, our individuality and our uniqueness. And in your case, I feel like, especially if you have a lot of earth placements, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, but especially Taurus with all of this Venus energy. Libra is also ruled by Venus, so you could have those placements, though you don't have to. You just may be someone who can hang out on the surface, or who can neglect your deeper, more mystical needs in favor of the material. And maybe there's a lot of justifications that you can make. And in doing that, you can really get lost from yourself in the process. And you're meant to be lost in your own sauce, not the sauce of others. Shout out to everyone who came to my YouTube live recently. That was so much fun. We talked about sauce a lot. But your painful experiences certainly weren't for nothing. You know, I think one of the most powerful things about, you know, Chiron is the wounded healer, and Chiron is a centaur, which is a man horse. So you have a lot of horse vibes here. So would that be funny if there was like a horse watching this and they're like using their big hooves to be like, oh my god, that's so accurate. Shout out to the horses. But anyway, I definitely think your authentic self is one who is meant to use not only your positive experiences, but your painful experiences, not only to be a more gentle, more compassionate person to others, but also to yourself. Your authentic self brings healing to everyone around you. And actually, I wouldn't be shocked if you're the type of person who can kind of forget about your own healing or forget about your own needs, because so many other people are always needing you, or needing your support, or needing your encouragement. I definitely feel like when you feel drained or frustrated, or like you just can't muster up the energy to get things done, I would say that's for two reasons. It's either because you're neglecting your inner world, or you're neglecting yourself, period. The fact that we have restoration here with gentleness, recharge, and enjoyment, life is not meant to be constant work for you. And you're quite literally not meant to be a workhorse. And in fact, the most powerful work that you do will be in alignment with your heart, and it won't be so strenuous. And so one thing that I'll tell you right now is that if you're in a career or in a place where your time, your resources, your gifts are being taken advantage of, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life, but you might be wanting to look at whether that's aligned with you or not, and whether or not you can carve out more time for relaxation, because your authentic self is one that's meant to honor your own rhythms. The fact that we have 32 here, your authentic self really needs your feminine energy. And let's be clear, everybody has a different balance of feminine and masculine energy, and we can cultivate more or less of it based on how conscious we are. But feminine energy is not logical. It is not bing, bang, boom. It goes with the flow. It goes with the cycles and the seasons and the rhythms of your own body. I also think it's probably easier for you to get rest and be more gentle on yourself when you're not doing it all alone. So I would encourage you to forge and maintain the connections that make you feel good about yourself, that make you feel like you can be your authentic self, that make you feel restored and replenished. You know, because those friendships, like, they won't drain you. Like, when you feel uplifted, when you feel nourished, like, that is usually a good sign that someone is aligned with you. But your authentic self is one that doesn't need to know everything and doesn't need to figure everything out. And that might be bewildering to you, because that may be where you're at right now. You may have this idea of like, I just need to figure myself out and then I'll be able to move forward. And what life is really telling you is, no, pile one. Like, you're already ready. But what you need to do is less, and allow yourself to just be and just exist, and not tell yourself stories about what's happening. Because really, your authentic self knows when you need time to retreat, knows when you need time to rest, and also knows that you can do anything you set your mind to. So for those of you that have been afraid to do things like start your own business, or, you know, go back to school, or try something different, like, when you have your eye on a goal, you cannot fail. And I feel like that's kind of why certain goals that you've had have fallen through, because your level of commitment is so intense that you could almost force yourself off track, or get yourself in a situation where you're completely out of alignment with your own needs, but you feel trapped there because of your values, because of your morals, and because of what you feel you need to be committed to. And so your authentic self, like your higher self especially, is saying that the things that are most aligned with you will be naturally restorative, or even if they're not naturally restorative, like for example, most jobs are not going to be naturally restorative. Like, this is like the best job in the world, and I still need breaks from it sometimes. I still got to go within and heal. You know what I mean? Like, even the best thing, you'll need rest from, you'll need breaks from. That's human. But whatever is aligned with you, it's going to allow you time and space to recharge, to enjoy yourself. And you will get more done when you're not completely hating what you're doing, because your heart is so powerful. Your authentic self is led by your heart. Also, loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. Your heart needs to be somewhere where it's valued. And so, for example, if you're putting in tons of hours in a place that doesn't admire you or appreciate you, hello, this reminds me of back in the day when I used to work retail part-time, and I was working 40-hour weeks on a part-time salary, and I just didn't know how to advocate for myself. I didn't know that I deserved more. I didn't know that I deserved better. And I think that we usually don't know that we deserve better until we start affirming that. Your authentic self is unstoppable, and your authentic self is the most powerful when they are listening to their heart, and when they are honoring their integrity and not compromising your needs or your values in order to survive. Because you're not meant to survive, you're meant to thrive. And with this 32 here, you're definitely meant to do things in a way that's not so destructive to your psyche and soul. With Chiron here, I wouldn't be shocked if you're meant to do something in the healing professions, but this is less about doing and more about being. Like, you know, it's really easy because of just the systems we live in to assume that, like, we have to do things based on like our value comes in what we do for work, when in reality, like, I don't know about y'all, but my dream is to not have to work at all. I would love to be able to do this in a way where I just give from my heart and there's no finance thing involved, you know what I mean? But we live in a society, and I think one thing that you need to remember is that you can get the access to the resources you need. I promise you. With all of this earth energy, your authentic self is meant to be empowered in the material realm. And so if you don't feel that way now, a lot of the healing you're going through is getting you there. You are meant to serve causes that have meaning to your heart, and serve yourself in ways that don't allow yourself to be exploited, taken advantage of, or be abused in any way. And you also have to ask yourself, how do I abuse myself? Because if we're not advocating for ourselves, it can be really easy to let others take advantage of us as well. And I really do think that part of the reason why, if you do feel very lost or feel like you don't even know who you are, it's because like there are so many components to you and you are a mystery, and that's cool as hell. Like, part of the gift of your life is the unfoldment of discovering more about yourself. And I'm thinking, okay, I wanted to mention right before, like right as I started the camera to start your reading, I heard Born This Way by Lady Gaga. And so I feel like your complexity is part of you, and that's part of your authenticity. And so rather than trying to, you know, make yourself smaller and fit in a specific box, you're meant to realize that you are meant to be fluid and expand and be so much more than you thought you could be. Like, and the authentic version of yourself knows their worth and knows when they need to rest, knows that they don't need to have themselves figured out in order to make progress in the material world and in order to make progress internally. Two very important things to honoring your authentic self are: one, mental clarity, and two, physical movement. So if you can prioritize your movement and clearing your mind, so like meditation or so, and honestly, you can do both of those things at the same time, like a little mental health walk, do both at once. Like, there are many ways in which you can clear your mind and get out any excess pent-up energy, because I do think you have naturally just a lot of energy at your disposal, and sometimes I think that actually works against you because there's so much coming at you at once, or there's so much that you want to do or you could do that you almost forget that sometimes you just need to be. And in this case as well, like, you are what the universe loves the most and what the universe wants to support the most, which is a kind heart that wants to do good in the world and wants to help others. And like, I literally just want to cry talking about that, because you don't understand how powerful and how special that is. And like, I will say myself, like, the things that I do from the heart, they will change your life, and they will empower you in ways you never thought, and connect you to people that, you know, just light your soul on fire and remind you that there's so much good in the world, and that the world deserves us and deserves our light. And like, we were made perfectly, and your mystery is perfect. Your need for rest is essential. Like, you're not a robot, you're a human being, not a human doing. And I really think that you are meant to romanticize your life. Your authentic self is one that loves life. And so if you feel miserable, if you feel bitter, these are the things that the universe is going to be bringing towards you to heal, because that doesn't have to be the case, and it doesn't have to be the truth. You are meant to not only heal yourself, but inspire others with your healing. Your authentic self will naturally evoke a healing energy. When you walk into a room, people are meant to feel more at ease. And so if you already know that that's the case, then know you're already doing it. But I would definitely look at where your Chiron is, and because your Chiron is like where your deepest wounds lie. So by looking at that, you can look at, you know, where you need yourself the most. But I think your authentic self is transient in nature, because you're always evolving in beautiful ways, and your authentic self needs a cause worth fighting for. And oftentimes we can get caught up in causes that are not even our fight in the first place. Your masculine energy is meant to take action towards what has meaning to your heart, and your feminine energy is meant to nourish and restore you, and also help give you creative energy and creative ideas. And your masculine energy is meant to help protect you and help implement those things in practical ways. You have the ability to do that. And you are someone who is meant to lead by example. And you can't lead by example if you're following someone else's lead. You know what I mean? I definitely think your authentic self is a leader, but maybe not in such an overt sense, but rather just what you could be in a literal sense. I find oftentimes that, you know, we're thrust into positions of leadership rather than seeking them. I know that's the case for me. Even like, not even just this, like back in school, like I remember in middle school, like I had to be my class's room rep because nobody wanted to do it. And everybody was like, so yeah, like even if you don't see yourself as a leader, other people will assign you as such. Maybe they just wanted me out of the room, who knows? But more than anything, your authentic self is ever evolving and deeper than you can ever imagine. And your authentic self is a mystery that you're meant to unravel, not in one night, but throughout your life. And, you know, the causes that matter to you might change. The loyalties you have might change. But what is not meant to change is your loyalty to yourself and your loyalty to your body, your rhythms, your needs, and your loyalty to your own healing. Because what you are meant to do is lead by example and be the change you want to see. I know that's like the most cliche thing ever. I used to think that was BS, but it's the truth. Like, you know, think about how hard it is to change yourself. You can't possibly expect the world to change when you're unwilling to do so. But I actually want to read the horse card because I feel like it will help you have more confidence in yourself, because this is your authentic self: momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. The horse represents the most masterful form of earth energy within the deck. And also I want to say that I think your authentic self is quite abundant, and abundance is more than just money, but like, I think that one thing you need to recognize is that there are so many ways in which you can access more abundance and be more abundant. And I think that being in abundance consciousness will really help you, and just seeing what you already have and realize like you have an abundance of energy, you have an abundance of wisdom, you have an abundance of love. And like, that is not something to, you know, feel ashamed of. That is something that you need to nurture and protect because it's so important. It provides us with momentum so reliable, so supportive that you can ride on its back towards any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. The horse's freedom becomes available to us when we hone and collect our energy through daily practice. Physical stamina, exercise, and mental focus, meditation, are the secret weapons behind the horse's legacy. And when the horse is in balance, it achieves anything, never gives up. When out of balance, runs away and feels weak, and to bring into balance, strength training. But I would also say like strength training in terms of like mental strength, spiritual strength. I think those could be really helpful for you as well. But to summarize the aspects of your authentic self, Spirit is highlighting your authentic self is a lover. And if you are a fighter, it's fighting in the name of love. And it's not fighting just for the sake of violence. It's more so defensiveness, or fighting for a cause, or fighting for some higher ideal. You are naturally a healer, and you can't reap the benefits of those gifts if you neglect yourself in that healing. So it's incredibly important. I would not be shocked if right now you are learning a lot, or in the past you have learned a lot about how to come up with systems and routines that actually nourish and support you, and that actually, you know, support your needs. Because what you need may not be what someone else needs. Like, I need lots of sleep. Very rarely do people need as much sleep as I need. But I know that there's nothing wrong with me. I've always been that way, even when I was a teeny weeny baby child. Like, I need sleep, and I will not compromise on that. So my routine and my schedule does not have a time frame. It has things I need to do. So it doesn't matter what time I wake up, because I'm not forcing myself to wake up at 5 a.m. That's actually usually my bedtime. But rather, when I wake up, okay, I'm going to do some yoga, I'm going to do some Pilates, and then I'm going to do my little meditation, and then I'm going to, you know, do my little shower routine, and then I'm going to start my day, and then I want to get XYZ done. Like, instead of having like from 10:05 to 10:32, I'm going to floss my teeth. Like, instead of having like strict regimented things, if it would help, maybe focusing on goals or experiences you want to have through your routine. Like, I want to feel at peace. I want to feel, you know, good about myself. I want to feel like maybe it's important for you to decorate yourself in a way that makes you feel like yourself. I do think one important aspect to your authentic self is allowing you to express whatever you're feeling in the moment. And so, you know, if you just don't have the energy to be your normal happy-go-lucky self, don't feel like you need to put on a facade. You know, if you feel so much love, don't feel like you have to hold it back. Share it. Love given is never wasted. I promise you that. And more than anything, your authentic self is this beautiful unfoldment, and you're going to discover more about who that person is as you embody more of yourself. And the more questions you have answered, the more questions you're going to have. And I think what you're going to realize is that you're a beautiful puzzle and you don't need solved, because whatever needs to be solved will be solved when it needs to. And once that's solved, there will be a new one. And I think that you're actually really being encouraged to let go of that, because the most powerful insights you have about yourself will come when you're not focused on them. And when you're just honoring your own inner rhythms and honoring where your heart leads you. You know, if you ever notice, like bowing, when you bow, your mind like lowers itself to the heart. And I think that you'll know when you're in balance because you lead with your heart first, and you check in with your heart and you ask what your heart needs, and you listen to your heart, and you allow your mind to do the logical processes needed in order to help serve what your heart is asking of you. And you certainly can't do either of those things if you're stuck in your head, because you can't listen to your heart and then you don't even know where to be guided. But what's beautiful too is that this horse has this crescent moon on, where for a human it would be its third eye. And so I really do think that by being more in touch with your heart, because your heart is your soul's like secretary, it's your soul's representative, by being led by your heart and by your deeper, you know, instincts, your deeper intuitive impulses, you're going to be led to places you never thought you could go. And you're also going to realize that you have so much more energy to do things when you're serving what has meaning to you, rather than serving what you're being told is important or what you need to do. Other people don't know better than you what you need. And I think that one beautiful thing that you're meant to realize is that it's okay for you to not fully understand yourself. You don't need to fully understand yourself in order to go into where your heart is leading you. You just need to trust yourself and trust your guidance. And I think the more you awaken to the reality of just how wonderful you are, and like just how important it is that you serve things that do light your heart on fire, that do make you feel good, that do make you feel nourished, the easier it will be for you to let go of what doesn't serve you, because it'll become clearer and clearer of what drains your energy and of what isn't meant for you. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the tarot now. I love your authentic self, by the way, you know, and that's the thing too, is you don't have to be fully actualized in order to know that you're just perfect already, and that what you have now and the knowledge you have now is enough to get where your heart is leading you. You don't have to know everything. Hell, I started this journey and I didn't even believe in spirits when I started this, and whoo, that understanding has evolved since then. And that's the beautiful thing, is that we learn what we need to learn when it's time. And the more you get in touch with your own inner rhythms, the more you'll realize it's not that you were doing something wrong, or that you were ineffective or a failure. It's just that you were trying to force yourself to conform to rhythms that are not natural for you. And it is only going to be natural that you struggle, because you're not honoring yourself. You're not honoring your needs, and you're allowing the outside world to tell you what you need to be, rather than, you know, affirming what you actually need. So that being said, I do want to give a big shout out to everyone who leaves the time to leave me a little like or a subscribble or a comment. That stuff is more helpful than you realize. And if you appreciate this reading, or if you're enjoying it, leaving me a little like, stuff like that helps me know what you guys want to see more of. But yeah, so just thank you to everyone who does that. But let's go ahead now and look at your tarot. And I want to mention, this is the Sleepwalker's tarot, which I think is so cool. And like, it talks about how the horse is fully awakened. And so I think your authentic self, when it's in touch with its deeper truth and deeper principles, and when you're operating on those principles, you will be at your most powerful and your most awake. Now I'm hearing Wide Awake by Katy Perry. And sometimes, you know, we have to come back down to earth in order to actually make things happen. And I think that your authentic self may find it a lot easier to get lost in the earth sauce, but that's why it's so important that you embrace your own inner mysteries, because those inner mysteries are going to nudge you in the direction of where you need to go in the material realm. So we're going to start by looking at how you can embody more of your authentic self. So Spirit, how can pile one embody more of their authentic self? Okay. This is so perfect. The Wheel of Fortune. You can embody your authentic self by oh, sorry, I'm burping a lot. Let me get a sip of water. You can embody your authentic self by honoring your rhythms. And so if your rhythms are saying, we need a break, we need to rest. And for some of you, I'm hearing like, if you have savings and you're able to like cash in that vacation, or, you know, if you're ready to take a break, do it. If you have I obviously am not going to tell you to do something reckless or like do something that's going to, you know, shoot yourself in the foot. But imagine if people told Jesus that like it'd be safer if he was in an office job. Like, could you imagine, like, okay, obviously like offices didn't exist back then, but like, okay, imagine a modern Jesus and someone being like, you know, Jesus, I think it'd be a lot safer if you just got a business degree. Like, how is he going to spread words of wisdom and truth? Like, and it's making me think of this story of like the bread and having enough to feed everyone, even though there was not enough. I feel like this is a reminder that the abundant universe will provide, especially when you need it. But like, people can't read your mind, and people can't like know what you need for you. Like, you yourself have a hard time knowing what you need. And that's why it's so important that you give yourself ample time and space to embody Mr. Frog here. Like, look at how peaceful he is. Like, he is doing his meditation thing. And like, I really do think meditation, or just finding ways to clear your mind or get in touch with your inner world, if you need something more dynamic as well, like, please do that, because nobody's gonna know what you need for you. And your authenticity will not be expressed if you're not honoring your own inner rhythms. So by embodying your authenticity, the way you can embody more of your authentic self is by not wavering from your truth and making decisions that honor that truth. So, you know, for example, if you get invited to do something and you know you just need to stay home and rest, like, you are busy. You're busy resting. Like, that is a thing. Like, and of course you don't have to like tell people like everything that's going on, but you can just say, sorry, like, I'm not available. Like, you don't need to push yourself. You just need to flow. Like, and also I think part of embodying your authentic self is honoring your own rhythms, and honoring when, you know, I just don't feel like getting everything done, or I just don't feel good right now. I just need to rest, or I feel like I could do anything and I'm really feeling encouraged to try this new thing, or take a different way home today, or just literally just honoring whatever the cycles of life are telling you. And rather than being resistant to whatever you're experiencing, asking yourself, how could the mystery of what I'm experiencing help me uncover a little bit of the mystery within? The Wheel of Fortune also embodies all the fixed energies. So I think that like, there are certain fixed principles for you that I think are incredibly important. And I would not be shocked if they are things like, you know, I will not accept people that are, you know, that don't care about my well-being, that exploit my time and energy. Like, that's something that is a fixed thing, that no matter what cycle you're in, no matter how good you feel, no matter how much your cup is overflowing, you're not going to allow someone who knows that they would just want to drink from your cup and not give anything back, like, you know, take your time and energy. Another way that you can embody more of your authentic self is, I would look at where your North Node is. Your North Node is your destiny and where you're meant to head. I would also look and see if your Chiron aspects your North Node in any way, because it could also be the healing that you do takes you closer to your destiny. But if you don't know anywhere to go, like, look at your North Node, because your North Node kind of embodies where you're meant to head in this lifetime. But also, I think that there's meant to be more surrender and acceptance around the things you can't control, and around how you're showing up for yourself. You know, I think that like, when you are exhausted, for example, that's part of your authentic self saying, hey, we need nourishment, we need rest, We need time to, you know, just relax and restore ourselves. And if you don't know what helps you relax and what helps you restore yourself, there's a good place to start. And one thing I will say is that it doesn't matter if you get tons of physical rest if you don't allow your mind to rest. One harsh truth I had to realize was that social media was taking away from from my ability to be here, because it was taking so much of my mental energy. And even though I had the physical energy to do things, mentally I was just so drained, because it's actually so jarring, like the way social media is now. It's designed to zap you of your time, your energy, your resources. So like one of the most restorative things you can do, get off social media, at least for a little bit. Like, it's hard to realize when you're in it how much it actually, like, it alters your brain chemistry and your cognition, and it also creates more stress and negativity, and you're also taking on the energy and experiences of other people. And you have a lot of depth to you that I don't think you always explore, and maybe that's because you don't know how to. So one great way to start is, how can I restore my spiritual resources? How can I restore my emotional energy? How can I restore my mental energy? Really look at the different forms of self-care and restoration, because they may not always be just sitting back and relaxing. Maybe you need like a good book, or like maybe you need a romance book, or maybe you need to have a nice long talk with a friend that just lights your heart on fire. Maybe you need to spend time like with your animals, or spend time giving back. Like, you know, one of the ways that can really help nourish our heart is by serving and being of service to other people. So don't underestimate what will help restore you, but your authentic self is meant to enjoy life and enjoy the process of unraveling not only your inner mysteries, but the mysteries of life. And I think that if you've been looking for some specific destination to be the point where everything makes sense, I think you need to let that go and realize that part of your gift this lifetime is you're meant to do amazing things without even having all the context. And it's through doing these things and experiencing these things and embodying these things that you will understand more mysteries. And then you'll have more questions, but then you'll just learn more and know more. You are so expansive and so powerful. And in this lifetime, you're meant to show people that you don't have to follow society's rhythms. You don't have to follow, you know, the distorted masculine's idea of what an acceptable person is. You don't have to follow these soul-crushing rhythms that other people expect of you. You can follow your own rhythms and actually be far more productive. You know, if getting up at 5 a.m. is not for you, then don't do it. Get up when it works for you. Like, sleep is one of the most important things that you need. And for example, maybe you just need more sleep, because I tell you what, when we go to sleep, our body naturally heals itself and does so much to heal us. And that's the thing too, is that a lot of healing doesn't have to be conscious. And doing simple things like just making the choice to say, I deserve to have a headspace that doesn't bully me, that doesn't criticize me, and that is accepting of our body's needs. You know, the way society pushes us to the brink and expects us to just be, you know, emotionless robots that just do. It's the same way our brain expects our bodies to just do without taking into account our need for rest, our need for water, our need for nourishing food. Like, it's very important that you realize that healing doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And healing can be as simple as just choosing to eat nourishing foods, taking those vitamins that you know that could be supportive, and, you know, using your time and resources wisely. And, you know, like, if you only have a finite amount of time to be restorative, making sure you set boundaries with things that do drain your energy and resources so that you're not wasting your valuable time. But yeah, the one thing that I'm just seeing is that the more you embody your authenticity, the more things will naturally align for you, and the more you'll just be like, oh, everything's fine. I'm exactly where I need to be. And the wheel keeps on turning. I'm hearing rolling on the river. Nice. Okay, so Spirit, how can pile 1 remove blockages around embodying their authenticity? We have the 6 of Wands. So I think one blockage that you may have is funny. There's another horse. One blockage you may have is maybe it could be like your ego in general, but it also could be you're afraid of disappointing the people, like the people around you and what you think their expectations are. And what you need to know is that you can't ever, it is impossible to make everyone happy. And you know, if you want to heal your people pleasing tendencies, try a public internet career. It'll be like setting your hand on a burning hot stove all the time, but you will literally have no choice but to serve yourself. And I will say personally, like, I understand this energy so much. I worry all the time that like I'm gonna make you guys mad if I don't do a certain thing, or like even as I was setting this up, I was like, oh, it's not as decorated as it usually is. Like, what if people get mad? And it's like, okay, then they can leave. Like, because the homies, the real ones, the people that are meant to be here are just grateful I showed up and grateful that, you know, I gave. And that's the thing is like, you know, even this reading itself is like, I want you guys to feel like you can truly be yourselves and realize that like, yes, it is hard to be yourself and experience resistance and have people that don't get you, but it's so healing when you do have people who do get you. And so like, thank you so much to everyone who like, you know, is just so kind and understanding, because the thing is that people won't know what you're going through or what you're dealing with. And I feel like you may have a lot of pride around what you think you need to do and the expectations you have of yourself, or what you think the expectations of the world around you are. And I feel like that is blocking you from doing what you actually need. Like, you know, if you're always the person to volunteer, or if you're always the person to, you know, push yourself because you want people to be proud of you or you want the praise, like, you need to ask yourself, is the praise worth depleting yourself and feeling like and just feeling like shit and feeling like exhausted? I also think too that you may base your expectations of who you think you need to be and how you think you need to show up based on society in general's expectations, which, like, let's be real, society is not very healthy. Like, and it's a reflection of us as individuals. And I think actually what you will realize is that far more people need you to honor yourself, and we'll look at that in a second, but far more people would be empowered seeing you honor your own rhythms than they would be by seeing you deplete yourself. Because then you're just affirming like, yes, let's martyr ourselves for something else, and that's not healthy. I also think, though, a way that you can defeat blockages is by not asking for permission or asking for people's opinions or asking what they think you need, and instead asking yourself, what do I need? And doing things for you, not because you think other people need that of you. I also think with the Six of Wands here, one way that you can honor your authenticity is not feel like you have to put on a persona or not show the world what you're getting up to, you know? Like, you don't have to show everyone everything. Like, if you give an inch, people will take a mile. But I definitely think that your ego has certain ideas around who it thinks you need to be in order to be worthy. And I feel like that is draining the shit out of you, and also like really taking you away from your authentic self. And one thing I noticed is that there's this cute little child holding a wand and trying to give it to, you know, this angel on their horse. And I think that one way that you can embody more of your authentic self is do inner child healing and ask yourself, like, what did little me need that they didn't get? And what did I enjoy when I was little that like I could do now as an adult? Like, you know, obviously you have an adult brain, so like the things that you were interested in as a kid may be different, but the core of them may be the same. Like, maybe you need a creative outlet that's not tied to anything monetarily. It's just for you and only for you. That could be something that's helpful. You know, the fact that there's one wand here, I feel like through connecting and healing your inner child, which your inner child is also what helps guide your heart. So by healing that connection and that relationship, you won't feel like you need to perform or like you need to meet the real or imagined expectations of the people around you, because you'll realize that like if the people around you are okay with you harming yourself in order to do what they think you need to do, then they're not the people that you need to be pleasing, and you shouldn't be pleasing them in the first place. And like, that's one hard thing I've had to realize is like, whoa, you know, in my endeavor to try and make everyone happy, I've been making myself miserable and not taking care of my needs and not honoring what I want to create and what I want to do. And it's like, and you will get blowback from the people that have benefited from your weak boundaries and from you serving them. They will get mad at you, and that's okay. But when you're healing yourself, you'll realize it feels a lot better to honor myself and allow other people their own emotional experiences about that than it is to not honor myself and betray myself in favor of someone else's truth that takes away from me and doesn't give shit. So yeah, that's one way. But I also think that on the flip side, one way that you can remove certain blockages is by just being more confident in your needs and realizing like, I need to be unapologetic about this, and like maybe even taking the time to help lead others and encourage them to honor their own rhythms as well. Like, you know, maybe you could even, like, I just heard like maybe you could even like inspire like your workplace to do more self-care, like, you know, have like a corporate spa night and like get them to like get a spa to like sponsor it or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not here to shit on corporations except for Nestle. Fuck Nestle. And well, there are other evil soulless corporations like ExxonMobil. Plenty of others, but it's authentic to me to say fuck Nestle, I hate Nestle, and it feels good. And so if you have those beliefs too, honor those. Which honestly, if you don't, dude, there are very few things that are black and white. Hating Nestle is one of them, because if you don't, you are them. Anyway, Nestle rant over. That's probably going to happen in every reading now, because everybody needs to spread the word. Like, don't put your money in their pockets, because they are literally killing everyone in the planet. So are other corporations, but Nestle's a really terrible one. Okay, so let's look at how you embodying your authentic self will change the world. So, Spirit, how will pile 1 embodying their authentic self change the world? Okay, 6 of Pentacles. So this is about service, and this is about generosity. If you're in a position where you don't have the resources and abundance to help others, I wouldn't be shocked if you're going into some sort of shift where you are able to. But by being yourself, you will be able to show others what giving from a place of abundance looks like, and what giving from a balanced place looks like, rather than giving from a place of depletion, giving from a place of I have enough and here's what I can do. Like, the universe wants to bless you because they know you're going to use your blessings to help other people. And one way you will help change the world is show people like how important it is to be generous of spirit, to be generous of your resources, and to give, like I said, not from a place of depletion, but to help. You will inspire others to be more generous, to be more loving, and to be more compassionate to the people around them, especially those that have less, especially those that don't know that they're capable. I feel like your healing presence will help other people realize, like, I can heal too, and I can help others heal. Like, you are like a domino effect, like, and you're the first domino. And it's like, by embodying your authenticity, you're not only helping more people wake up to the fact that they either need more healing or that they need to honor their rhythms, but also that they don't need to put themselves in positions where they are continuously, you know, deprived of what they need, and deprived of joy, and deprived of their well-being. Like, for example, you know, maybe you starting your own business, if that's something that you want, is necessary because you would be a more fair boss than, say, a giant corporation that is designed to suck the resources and money out of all people for the benefit of a few people at the top. You know, instead, maybe you would be a fair boss that gives people livable wages and that is ethical in their business dealings. Like, we need leaders in every sector of life and the world, and we need more people leading by example, especially the example of when you give, you receive. And like, the more you give, the more you receive. And when you're giving from an authentic place, it doesn't feel so hard because it's not inauthentic. It's not giving for a specific result. It's giving because you want to. It's giving because it feels good. I definitely think that more than anything, the way that you will help change the world is give to others who need it, and give to yourself in ways that inspires others to do the same. I feel like you could be a huge source of inspiration for getting people to want to help those that have less more, and those that need more help. Like, I feel like you are a compassionate spirit and a compassionate soul who's meant to help people see that, you know, we are all victims of victims who are victims of victims. And not to say that we're in a victim mentality or anything, but like, you know, a lot of pain in the world is just repeating a cycle. And a lot of us, you know, believe that if we give, then we won't receive. And that's just not the truth. Like, I feel like you're meant to inspire others to give in a more balanced way, and to also recognize how to say no when what they're being asked to give is not balanced or is not helpful for who is giving. I feel like you're meant to inspire other people to follow passions and causes that hold meaning in their heart. And I also think that you're meant to, if you don't already have the resources, where you're being guided now is meant to help you gain more resources so that you can use those to help other people and balance out the great imbalance that exists right now in society. Like, I think that you are meant to help show people that balance is imperative, internally, externally, with yourself and with your environment, and really show people that, like, we don't need to hoard. We also don't need to push everything away. Like, we need to have enough for ourselves and know when enough is enough so that we can give to others. And I think, you know, animals, a lion is not gonna hunt an antelope if it's full. It's gonna do its lion thing. Like, animals don't hoard the way humans do. And, you know, that usually comes from wounds. And, you know, if you look at the people at the top, like, they're not abundant because they hoard and they hold on to and they extract and they take and they don't give. Well, they do give a lot of BS and excuses and a lot of unhelpful things that harm the vast majority of society, but that's not really helpful forms of giving, are they? I think that you're meant to heal the balance between giving and receiving and show people that true giving is a win-win outcome for all. And I think that you embodying your authentic self is going to show people that, wow, I can be me and I can do that abundantly and I can be supported. Because the truth is that when you are serving others and when you are in alignment with yourself, like, the abundant universe will provide, and like, you will be given so many more resources than those who serve from a place of ego or who, you know, do things because they want something in return. When your motives are pure, when your intentions are pure, giving and receiving become second nature, and they're not something that you even have to think about because it becomes so natural. So I definitely think that you're meant to help balance the power of resources as well. And we have 6s here, and 6s are a number which, you know, people say 666 is evil. It's not. It's a number. It's literally a number. Like, that's a projection. 6 is the number of love, abundance, compassion, nurturing. It's a beautiful number. And I think that you are meant to be in alignment with those energies and quite literally put your money where your heart is, put your money where your values are. And what you're going to realize is that your values not only reap more abundance, but they help everyone around you and they lift everyone up. If you have desires to improve your community, do it. If you have desires to just give more of your time and energy, do it. Like, being in your authentic self and giving from a place of authenticity is really going to inspire others around you to do the same. And not only will you be spreading the love, you'll be spreading the wealth and abundance as well. So let's see what blessings you will receive as a result of embodying more of your authenticity. So what blessings will pile 1 receive? Yes. We have the Empress. This is earthly divine femme. And so, like I said, you know, you are meant to embody your natural rhythms, but the Empress, you know, she gets to sit and let things come to her. And it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or not. this is creation energy. This is creation that is in tune with the cycles of creation. This is abundance incarnate. Sorry, I'm burping. I definitely think whenever I burp in readings, it's usually because it's like negative energy being released. And I think that if you have wounds around your deservability of like, if you feel like you have to go out and get everything, like one of the things you may be healing is realizing that like, maybe I can get more and do less, and flowing with that. Like, and you know what's interesting too, is that in every card, this figure's eyes are closed. And I feel like that is all the more evidence that you are meant to be led by your heart, because our eyes are connected to our brain. And oftentimes like our eyes can deceive us, right? The blessings that will come to you from embodying your authenticity are abundance, more creative energy, more time, more rest, the ability to naturally flow with your cycles and not create unnecessary stress around that. Your creative endeavors will be more fruitful. For some of you, maybe if you're manifesting a romantic relationship, or if you are trying to have a family, like, you know, maybe one thing, like, for example, you know, if you're struggling to conceive and that's something that really matters to you, it could be that, you know, maybe your body is just doesn't have enough nutrients and nourishment right now to be able to support it. Like, and I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything. So like, take that with a grain of salt, of course. But I feel like you will you will have more of everything, more love, more abundance, more joy, more gratitude, more creativity, more resources, and more opportunities. And it will be natural and beautiful. And you will just feel in tune with the earth in a way where if you have wounds around like being here as a human person, you will be in touch with your body and with your feminine side in a way where you're not afraid to embody, you know, your needs. You're not afraid to speak out for what you want. You're not afraid to create things even if you don't know what the outcome will be, but rather you just will be, and life, you will have so much more for so much less. And you will realize that you never had to struggle as much as you thought you did. You just had to stop trying to be something that you weren't. This is so beautiful. I'm so excited for you, pile one. I really would love to hear, like, whether later in the future after you've done more of this, or whether you know now, like, what are you loyal to? What matters to you? Like, what causes light your heart on fire? Like, how can you serve the planet? Like, also just serving the planet. Like, the planet will serve you, I promise. And speaking of the planet, we're now gonna finish off with a guidance card from the Sacred Earth Oracle. Shout out to whoever recommended this deck to me. I hope they're watching this, because I just wanted to say to them, thank you. I'm sorry I forget your username, but one of you guys suggested this deck to me and said that it would probably be right up my alley, and they were absolutely right. So thank you to whoever that was. But Spirit, no, not Spirit, Gaia, Mother Earth, Miss Earth, and you know what? If you rearrange the letters of Earth, you know what you get? Heart. Miss Gaia, what guidance do you have for our beautiful pile ones? Okay, let's see. We have Center. I actually pulled this card for myself the other day. Maybe that's why I was giving you guys so many examples from my life. Don't confuse selfishness with self-centering. Bring your well-being, your values, your future, and your loves to the center of your world. Break hold of objects, habits, or relationships that insist you revolve around their needs and demands. Being centered makes you stronger and more balanced, and disturbances are less likely to knock you off course. Extend your positive sphere of influence. And that's the thing, as you expand, you serve everyone around you. Like, this is so beautiful. Let go of fixed expectations and time frames. Yeah, that's that Wheel of Fortune. Try to be patient. What you need to be fixed on is not expectations and time frames, but rather values that are deeply ingrained in your soul. So whether that is compassion, forgiveness, understanding, you know, certain causes, hold on to those and support those. You are well on your way to arriving at your heart's desire. An invisible force gently pushes and pulls you towards your true center. Let go and let it flow. Got that, Elsa? Shout out to the Elsas. It has been a long journey, but the destination is so much closer than you think. Yeah, it's actually right here. Like, it's literally right here. It's in the center of your heart. And if you notice, your heart chakra is in the center of all your chakras. It is quite literally the middle of everything. The influence of this timeless, invisible force has been observed and studied by the greatest minds since Aristotle sought to explain gravitas in the 4th century BCE. Gravity draws planets to suns, moons to planets, and the life-giving atmosphere to our Earth. Within our complex galaxy, there are many centers of gravity. The same is true for all complex beings, you included. We come into this world with love at our center, but disturbances can knock us from our orbit. When this happens, our immediate center of gravity shifts, and we can settle into orbit around all manner of people, values, and expectations. But love is the brightly burning sun at the true center of your world, and its invisible pull brings you ever closer to its glorious light, which is so true. And so the more you feed that beautiful heart of yours, your heart is where your authenticity lies, not in your mind or your expectations. The closer you will be to being able to give more of yourself, and the easier it will be to do so, and the more you will have to give. So pile one, I am so excited for you, and I hope you're excited for yourself too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting the ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to do that in other ways, like I said earlier, you can like, comment, subscribe, let me know how it resonates. Be sure to click those notifications. Shout out to Notification Squad. If you guys want me to see your comments, I usually see them when I first upload. After that, it's a matter of chance. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my merch. You can check out my social media, or you can just check out my other videos, especially ones with extendeds. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the aura-coded Fluorite Evangelion angel looking guy that we have affectionately named Romeo, and the Lightseer's Tarot, then this is going to be your reading on your authentic self and how by embracing it you can change the world, change your own life. Haven't decided on an official title, but essentially how by being your authentic self you can make your life better and the lives of others better. So let's start. We have the Castle, we have the Octopus, we have Square. Challenge, creates tension, stalls, sounds the alarm, motivates, pressures into, frustrates, demands, struggles, reorients, hurts, works out, reconciles. We have Inspiration, stimulation, mastery, creative flow. That is an air sign. And finally, we have Father, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit, and the shadow attributes are dictatorial control and abuse of authority. Not saying these shadow attributes are your authentic self, they're just there, but they are, for Ava fans, very Gendo Ikari vibes. Anyway, wow, okay, pile 2. One thing that I love about these energies is that they're already going into aspects of yourself that you may really punish yourself for or believe these parts of you are wrong or like need to be fixed. I want to start off by saying the Father card, one, does not mean that your authentic self needs to be a parent or that your authentic self needs to be a man. This is not about biology. This is about energy. And all of us can have daddy energy, and your authentic self definitely does have daddy energy, and you're meant to have it in the lightest way. Talent for creating, check. Talent for supporting others, life specifically, check. Your life and your own. Positive guiding light within a tribal unit, check. Your authentic self is a leader. Your authentic self is someone who is able to set boundaries, and able to set boundaries not only with others, but with themselves. Because let's talk about the Castle and the Octopus. The Castle can talk about having too many walls up, too many boundaries, whereas the octopus talks about lacking boundaries. And I definitely think one thing that you might be working through right now is finding that healthy balance between letting in the outside world and also maintaining your own sanity. Your authentic self is one that is meant to embrace your desire for the finer things in life. You're not meant to be ashamed of that, but I wouldn't be shocked if there are people in this group that have had troubles with either maintaining abundance or reaping abundance, especially monetarily. And I am wondering if that's because it's currently a protective thing. I feel like, and I could be wrong about that, and I don't want to like make anyone upset, but I also can't control if I do, you know? I do feel like the universe could be protecting you from yourself right now, or could have been in the past, because if you got too much too soon, you could quite literally forget your dreams or become detached from them. I definitely feel like your authentic self is not meant to be a people pleaser, and it's certainly not meant to be someone who has it easy in the sense that like everybody just like automatically loves you or that you get along with everyone. I feel like part of your authentic self is that you're not meant to get along with everyone. Notice how this didn't say positive guiding light for the world. It's positive guiding light within a tribal unit. You're not meant to be for everyone. And if you're trying to be for everyone, that is an excellent example of how you are blocking yourself from being your authentic self. Squares are not a bad thing, and challenges are not a bad thing, but I do feel like you may believe that it is a bad thing about yourself that you seem to have conflict with other people, or that your energy seems to trigger others. That's not your problem. In fact, if you are just triggering others by being yourself, that is a sign that you're serving. You know, not everyone is meant to be a daffodil. I think that you are meant to be, in some ways, a torch. I think you're meant to be a torch. Like literally, you can lead the way, but torches can also burn. And I think that not everyone understands you, and that's okay. You're not meant to be for everyone, and your authentic self is definitely trying to show you that. With the octopus being here, you are definitely someone with a big heart who doesn't have the desire to provoke people, but it could be something about your energy, and it could also be something that has made you afraid of yourself. And I definitely can see here that that's not meant to be the lesson of these provocations or these negative reactions from other people. Your authentic self is meant to own all of you and recognize that even the parts of you other people wish were different, the parts of you that people wished were more complacent or more easygoing, those are the parts of you that are meant to be squashed, because that's not how you're meant to be. I quite literally feel like you are here to challenge people in general, challenge what they believe to be true, challenge their perspectives, challenge their reality, and also challenge yourself. I definitely think that your soul chose to take on more challenges in this lifetime because you knew you could handle it. And I hear the eye rolls and I hear, oh, here we go. But it's like, no, that's how you get daddy energy, baby. Like, hello, the Emperor, Aries, like Aries energy is all about, you know, being a leader, being a warrior. And the Emperor is empowered and leads from hopefully a sense of divine masculine wisdom. And that's not to say that you don't have any feminine energy. You could absolutely, I think the best goal to shoot for is divine androgyny, because we all need feminine and masculine energy. But I definitely think, at least at this point in time, your authentic self needs your masculine energy to lead, or needs to embrace your masculine energy in order to feel safer being yourself and feel safer in the world. This octopus card talks about like messy but well-meaning relationships. And I think that you may have like an all or nothing issue where you feel like you either can't be yourself at all, or you try to fully embrace yourself and then you get yourself in situations like with the wrong types of people, or you get yourself into like messy situations that you're not anticipating. And I feel like you might really beat yourself up for that. But these cards are telling you no. These situations, that mess, it's meant to bring you wisdom. It's meant to bring you more awareness. And it's meant to empower you to realize that you can not be for everyone. You can have conflict with people and you can grow from it. You can heal from it. And you can be yourself in the world and not be impacted by other people's responses of you, because you know that you don't have to be for everyone. The fact that we have inspiration here, stimulation, mastery, creative flow in the air signs, I think your authentic self really needs lots of mental stimulation and needs to be able to explore the things that you're passionate about and the things that you're interested in. I feel like your authentic self is meant to find a healthy balance between, and I think I already said this, knowing when you need to be solitary and knowing when you need more community. I also feel like you're almost meant to forge your own sort of community where not only are you a leader, but you empower others to realize that they don't have to be for everyone as well. Not only are you meant to be like an empowered leader, but you're also meant to explore many aspects of life. And I feel like, especially with the octopus, the octopus has 8 arms, or 8 tentacles. I was just, how many tickles does an octopus give you? 10 tickles. That's why I laughed. Anyway, for example, if that bad joke made you groan, live your truth, baby. Let me know. Like, that's okay. And maybe part of your challenges is accepting that other people can make cringy jokes, or embracing the fact that it's easier to be yourself and accept your differences when you don't wish people were differently. And I feel like maybe part of your motivation for building a lot of abundance or building a lot of material wealth is almost to just like keep the world out and have your own thing going on. And the universe is like, that's actually going to make you less abundant and more cut off from yourself, and thus more cut off from your world and take you off track. Take this card as confirmation. You are meant to not only have enough, but more than enough. Enough to spoil yourself the way you want to, and also give back, give to your community. Like, abundance is best when you use it not only to help yourself, but help others too. And for everyone in this group, I would highly recommend, if you haven't, like, talk to a financial advisor about how you can use the money you would be spending on taxes on using it for charity instead. Like, there are ways that if you just have like a little bit of fiscal wisdom, you can use the resources you already do have to do even more good than you think. Because I think that your authentic self wants to do good, but your authentic self is also here to learn and explore, and you're meant to heal through struggle. And what I mean by that is you're meant to realize that the struggles that you have and the challenges that you face, not only with personal things, but interpersonal things, they're not signs that you're doing something wrong. They're not signs that you're inherently flawed. They're just signs that you're learning differently, and that you are strong enough to have an energy that isn't inherently like pleasurable to everyone. But the thing is you're not meant to be pleasurable to everyone. You're meant to be pleasurable to the right people. And you're also meant to be unapologetic about the fact that you're not here to be liked. You're here to lead. You're here to fight for what you believe in. You're here to embrace and enjoy the finer things that come from living your truth, from embracing your leadership abilities, and from exploring your world and the things that light you up. Your authentic self needs exploration, mental exploration, physical exploration, spiritual exploration. And a lot of times, the castle is meant to keep you contained, meant to keep you stuck. And that's not for you. I feel like when you let go of the resistance to how you are and just embrace the fact that, like, yeah, not everyone is going to like the fact that I speak my mind, and not everyone is going to like the fact that I am loud, and not everyone is going to like the fact that I have strong opinions. But you know what? There will be lots of people who will, and the people that don't have the strength to stand in their own assertions of themselves, to stand in their own authority, I can be a guiding light for them, and I can be a leader for them to help inspire them to do the same, and they can help support me in that process of me honoring my own truth. You know what I mean? You're so intelligent, and I think that your authentic self needs no boundaries when it comes to what you can explore and discover. I feel like where you do need boundaries are boundaries in what you will and won't accept from people. Because I think that you've accepted a lot of unfair projections from people because they've made you believe that you're somehow doing something wrong, or that you're somehow bad because you're not afraid to speak up for yourself, or you're not afraid to be honest about what your opinion is and what you may or may not disagree with. Like, you don't, like, it's a beautiful thing to not be a people pleaser. And if you're trying to be, that is one excellent example of how you're not being in your authentic self. Like, you don't need to heal, or you don't need to fix the parts of yourself that upset other people. You need to fix the part of yourself that thinks there's something wrong with upsetting other people when you're just being yourself. Now, if you're intentionally causing harm to people with the purpose of upsetting them, yeah, that might be a you thing. But if you're just, you know, for example, someone who's opinionated and likes to speak their opinions, and people get mad at you for that, that's not a you problem. That's a them problem. You don't need to fit. You're not responsible for their emotions. You're not responsible for their responses. You're responsible for how you honor yourself. And I feel like in a lot of ways, you may be using the desire or the accumulation of resources you already have to keep people away from you. And actually, your authentic self is meant to be able to be comfortable in collectives and around people, no matter what their response is to you. But also, your authentic self is meant to learn where you can protect yourself better by maybe being more calculated in terms of like, is this the right environment to speak my opinion? Whether it is or it isn't, you're going to learn either way. And the biggest thing I want to say is there's no wrong way to do anything when it comes to you following your life and following your truth. Your authentic self is meant to feel unrestrained when it comes to what you can learn and how you can explore. But your authentic self also really needs your support and your acknowledgement and recognition that it's okay to not be for everyone. It's okay to have an opinion people disagree with, and it's okay to make people uncomfortable with your authenticity, because what you're doing is challenging them to step more fully into their light and their truth. And there are a lot of people that get away with being in this shadow attribute of abusing their authority and using dictatorial control to make people feel small and feel bad. And I wouldn't be shocked if you as a child were shamed a lot for speaking up, for being opinionated, for being passionate, for being emotional about the things you're passionate about. And I would not be shocked if you challenged the authority of authority figures and you paid dearly for it. You know why? Because usually people in positions of authority, especially ones that are based in occupation, you know, sometimes people can have a bit of a power trip. And people don't like to be challenged by people they think they're above or in charge of. Your passion is meant to inspire you. And your authentic self needs your own support. Your authentic self needs to know that they're not in trouble for causing trouble. You know, it's okay to be like, I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of people in this group resonate with like the term indigo child. You don't have to, but I definitely think that you're a provocateur. Like, you are meant to provoke things in people, and that can be an uncomfortable thing. And But that's not meant to be something that stops you from doing that, because not everyone has the courage to have a dissenting opinion and to think differently. And what's really scary is that now it seems it's like we can't even have discussions abstractly about different things because people get so riled up and shut down. Like, for example, I'll give you a real one. I was recently, if you guys haven't seen, I was on a podcast called the Creative Culture Podcast, which was really awesome. It's in my community tab, but if you Google like Creative Culture Podcast, you'll see it. And the guy whose podcast it is, Steve, shout out to Steve, he's awesome. He shared it on his other channel, which is a woodworking channel. And the comments did not pass the vibe check whatsoever. And people on both sides of the spectrum, both religious, hyper-religious people and scientific people who are so stuck in their scientific dogma that they can't think openly, which I'm not bashing science. Science is awesome and we love science over here. They were both being so mean to Steve and about tarot and just revealing how close-minded they were. And all he did was just share the podcast. But so many people were so upset and like, I'm unsubscribing and like, tarot's not real or tarot is evil. And it's like, none of them actually watched it. None of them had an open mind about it. And I'm glad they didn't, because they didn't pass, like, I don't want those vibes around. You know what I mean? But like, if you look at the comments on the actual video of the podcast, they're so kind, so uplifting, so supporting. And like, that's the thing, is the things that inspire and empower you are not going to be for everyone. And especially when what you do has prejudice attached to it, which tarot does, when there's a lot of misunderstandings about it, which it does, like people who have, you know, who are set in their ways and are attached to their own dogma, they're going to get up in arms. And let's be real, like, you know, not everybody has to believe in the same things, but it takes a lot of strength to be able to take that and be true to yourself anyway. And I'm only using that example because I think it is just a powerful reflection of how it doesn't matter how good or kind or pure your intentions are, or what you're trying to share. Some people will always just want to reject you or reject what you have to say out of fear, because it's different, because it goes against what they were taught, because it goes against their dogma. And your authentic self needs no dogma. In fact, your authentic self is anti-dogma, because your authentic self needs to explore, needs to be able to question yourself, needs to be able to grow and learn. And you learn best through your challenges and through your frustrations. And I know that's not something you want to hear, but also the more you integrate these lessons, the less challenge you'll experience, because you'll be more in tune with your authenticity. So when, you know, you say or do something that goes against what other people believe, or you sharing part of yourself upsets others, rather than being upset by the response, you're just like, yeah, that's what happens. Like, I'm not shocked that that happened. I literally talked about in the podcast, like, yeah, the two groups that give me the most hardship are the ones I just talked about. And the thing is like, it really, like, it doesn't matter what they think or what they believe. That's not going to change anything. It's a bummer, like, when we all like for people to be more open-minded, but that's just not the reality of the way things are. And people need their own perceptions. They need their own consciousness. And, you know, their journey is their own. And they don't have to be challenged. And they might be upset when they're challenged. But ultimately, you can't control whether they become open-minded or not. You know what I mean? And you can't control their reactions or their responses. Like, and I think a lot of times, you know, when people are challenged, they automatically get very defensive and are just kind of like barking dogs, like, boo, boo, no, like, no. Like, they don't even want to think about it because it's unnerving to them and they're fearful. And your authentic self is rooted in love, and not just love for what you believe or what you like to do, but love for who you are, and love for the fact that it's pretty badass to just rattle cages by being yourself. Like, you must really be doing something right, because a lot of people are really locked into their own belief systems in a way where they're not looking at things more openly. And you are the epitome of exploration and openness. You are meant, like, anytime you have held on to something as like, this is it and it can never change, that's out of alignment with you, because you need to be able to say, yeah, but maybe there's another answer. Yeah, but what if? You need that. You need that exploration. Your authentic self is one who doesn't shy away from the challenges that being yourself brings, but rather steps up to the plate and knows when to just reject an energy because there's nothing there, or is willing to stand up for yourself or others and say, no, actually, to channel your inner Dakota Johnson and be like, actually, Ellen, that's not true. Like, you need to be able to, your authentic self knows how to stand up for yourself and others and stand up for your greater principles without being oppressive about it and without shoving it down other people's throats. I think we all know people like that. And the thing is that that's their journey to learn too. We're all learning and we all have challenges to learn, but I think that you may beat yourself up quite intensely for just not being for everyone. And nobody is meant to be for everyone. And especially when you're a leader, you are going to deal with more flack. You are going to deal with more people not being accepting of you because you challenge their notions of themselves and their notions of what's true. You are meant to do things your way in this lifetime. You're not meant to go by someone else's book, and you're not meant to go by someone else's dogma. Your dogma is no dogma, which we love that. Dogma kind of sucks, like low-key. At least in my opinion. That's my opinion. And that might upset some people, but I accept that. See? And I think what's so beautiful about your authentic self is that you're going to reap so many benefits, especially fiscally, when you just become unapologetic about who you are and how you're here to share and serve. Your light is meant to rattle cages and meant to wake people up. And I don't know about you guys, but if someone wakes me up prematurely, I'm a bit of a demon. Like, if you want to live, do not wake me up. Like, I am very Sandy vibes when she's like in hibernation and like SpongeBob and Patrick are out there being Dirty Dan. Like, do not wake me up. Like, some people will be mad about that. And that's okay, because the example that I'm using now is meant to be more so about the fact that, like, your relentless freedom and authenticity, intelligence and awareness is meant to provoke reactions in people that make them uncomfortable, that challenge their belief systems. And when you're attached to a certain belief system, it's going to be upsetting when something comes along that challenges that. And not only that, but part of the reason why you feel like the universe has been denying you is because they're challenging you to recognize that you're not meant to be isolated from the rest of the world. You're not meant to be like a wizard up in their, ivory tower, cut off from humanity. You're meant to be leading the people like you and the people inspired by you and showing them that, yeah, we can be strong enough to face dissent, and it's okay to make other people upset. You are able to create and support life. Like, that is incredible. And your creations give life. Your authentic self is an inspiration to many, and your authentic self is meant to create with freedom, explore with freedom, and evolve with freedom in a way where you're not attached to your own belief systems, and you're not even attached to your own material items if they get in the way of your deeper spiritual truths. Like, I could really see this group being the type of group to like be like, oh, at least when you're in your authentic self, realizing like, I need to move out of this house because it's keeping me from myself, or I need to get rid of all these old clothes because I don't need them anymore and they're weighing me down. Like, I feel like your authentic self knows when to hold something and knows when to release something. Your authentic self is able to discern when boundaries are needed and when they're not. Your authentic self is meant to know when you're pushing something out of fear, or when you are pushing something out of protection of your own needs. And your authentic self is strong enough and wise enough to know the difference. Your authentic self is so intelligent and so just rad. Like, you're rad, pile 2. And the people that don't get that, like, they're not for you. Like, they're not the ones that you're meant to lead. And like, your authentic self is so desperately needed because more people need to know that it's okay to rattle cages and be dissenting and say, you know what, I disagree with this. You know what, fuck Nestle. Like, I was so afraid to say that, even though it's so like if you have a problem with me saying fuck Nestle, look in the mirror, because the problem's not me. Like, period. But this is also meant to say too, like, your authentic self needs to be strong enough to know what works for them and what works for you and what doesn't, because you could be so malleable to what's around you. And if you're attached to how people see you, or attached to people's opinions of you, or attached to certain ways of being or certain communities that you feel like you can't be yourself in, but you're afraid of their disapproval, if you're attached to the approval of others, these are all things that are keeping you from your authentic self. Your authentic self is not meant to deny the pain that can come from being rejected, that can come from people, you know, being aggressive towards you or disagreeing with you. You're meant to accept that as part of the pain that can come from rattling a cage or sharing an experience or sharing an opinion that other people don't agree with. You're meant to realize, like, okay, that's you. That's your consciousness. That's not me. I'm going to use my consciousness to fight for what I believe in, to speak up for what I've learned, and I'm going to use my consciousness to grow and explore, because your authentic self is constantly growing and is constantly exploring. And honestly, I feel like the more you embrace your authenticity, the more you will reap material benefits from it, spiritual benefits from it, emotional benefits from it, and mental benefits from it. Like, it's quite literally coming into union with yourself and realizing, like, I can rattle cages and that's okay. I can have a dissenting opinion and that's okay. I can make other people upset by being myself, and that's okay, because my job is not to placate everyone. My job is to be myself and not take other people's reactions and actions towards me personally. You're meant to be a leader and show other people how to do this. You're meant to help other people realize that it's okay for people to disagree with you, for people to not be accepting of you, because you accept yourself, and there are people that accept you, and there are people that support you. And that's what matters. You don't need to be for everyone. You just need to be authentic to you and let the people who resonate with that be drawn to you, because they will naturally. And it will become clearer and clearer as you step into more of yourself, what is aligned with you and what isn't. And it will feel so good to make the decisions that actually align with that. You know, if you have certain, like, if you see things in your future where you're like, I don't know if I could ever have that, because, like, for example, like, I don't think I could ever be, like, a political leader because, like, I'm not likable. Have you seen the people that are currently running for president in the United States in the year of our Lord 2024? It's not about being likable, babe. It's really not. It's about being so sure in your experience that other people back you up. And unfortunately, many people are deluded in their own experiences, and plenty of people will back them up. The reality is that your authentic self is fucking perfect. And you're not meant to make yourself smaller or censor your own swear words because other people don't like them. Like, they can clear their own throat chakra. They can get over it. And the more you step into your authenticity, the more you'll be able to see, like, oh, yeah, that's a projection. That's not me. And the responses in people that bother you, those are the responses that are trying to show you where you need more healing and acceptance of yourself. Because once that's accomplished, those comments or those actions or those responses, like, they won't evoke the same, like, pain within you, because you'll know, like, oh, yeah, that's just a projection. Or, oh, yeah, oh, made someone upset by stating my opinion. What else is new? Like, welcome to the club, babe. Like, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, not everyone has the strength to be disliked. And truth be told, if you don't have haters, you ain't poppin'. Like, if you live to please everyone else, you're not living. And if you hide yourself in order to make everyone else comfortable, you are just betraying you. And it's not fair to anyone else because you serve by being you. So with that being said, I do want to give a big thank you to everyone who leaves the time to like leave me a little like or a subscribble or a comment, because that really helps me know like what you guys are enjoying, especially liking. Like that is just the simplest, easy way to support me. So thank you to everyone who does that. But also, yeah, just thanks for being here and thanks for your support. And, you know, thanks for being a cage rattler. We need more people like you. Like I will say, being my authentic self hasn't always made me friends, but it's made me a hell of a lot of good friends and kept out the people who want me to be like a content monkey or just a passive little weenie girl that just, you know, goes, oh, everything's fine and like, yes, like, no. Fuck people that don't let you be your authentic self, and fuck Nestle. Period. Okay, let's go ahead and start by looking at, grab my notebook, it was on the ground, how to embody more of your authentic self now. So, Spirit, how can Pile to embody more of their, oh, this is beautiful. Okay, so even though the Two of Cups often talks about like a relationship, like, and this could be, I feel like this Two of Cups for you is about recognizing that more than one truth about yourself can coexist, and that like you can be both soft and strong. You can be sweet, in the words of Ava Max, sweet and psycho. I don't really like that term though. Sweet and sour. You can be both. You can be warm and cold. Like, you can be multiple things at once. And in fact, when you stop resisting your own nature and stop resisting the reality of the fact that you can't control how your nature evokes responses in other people, the less you will feel like you have to contain and control yourself, because you realize, I'm not responsible for how people receive me. I'm responsible for how I put myself out there and how I support myself. Also with this Two of Cups, how you can embody more of your authenticity is by being around people that make you feel like you can be yourself and make you feel good to be yourself, people that make you feel safe to be yourself. For those of you who do have a partner, I would really encourage you to ask them, like, you know, what are the parts of me you wish I embraced more? Like, where do you feel like I make myself smaller? I also just think recognizing that you don't need everyone to like you. You just need the right people to find you, because then you'll realize you don't need the approval of everyone else. You just need the approval of the people that get you, because the people that get you, those are the people that matter. Those are the people that you want to like foster and nurture relationships with. Those are the people that you want to support. And those are the people that, you know, are actually aligned with you. I also think that this can be about as well honoring your need for outside comfort in other people. You know, if you're hyper independent or going off on this idea of like, I don't need anyone, like, I don't need love, or I don't need this, like, also being honest about what your desires are and claiming those and saying like, I can be opinionated and lovable. I can be loud and lovable. I can be assertive and lovable. And these qualities do not negate my lovability, but they are a part of who I am. And anyone who truly loves me will love those things about me or accept those things about me. And that's what's truly important. Like, you really, really, really need to recognize that it's not that you're doing something wrong by being yourself. It's that you're interpreting that there's something wrong with you because other people's responses aren't always just praise and support. And you're never going to 100% get praise and support. And it's much less likely you're going to get praise and support when you're not just passively going along with whatever the other people around you want. You're not meant to be controlled. You're not meant to be a follower. You're meant to be a leader, and not one that oppresses others, not one that, you know, thinks that your way is the only way, but rather you're meant to realize, like, it's not my way or the highway. It's I'm on this highway and it's going my way. And if anyone wants to join me, that's great. If anyone else has a problem with that, you can get off the road. Like, not my problem. Take an exit, bitch. Like, take an exit, bitch. That is the key. Like, you don't even need to reflect or even think for a minute that the negative bullshit people send your way is something that you need to consider. Look at it for what it is and say, okay, that's a projection, or okay, that's negativity. I don't claim that, and move forward. Like, it is not your job to be responsible for other people's emotions or other people's projections. But let's see how you can remove blockages towards embodying your authentic self. So, Spirit, how can Pile to remove blockages around their authentic self, please? We have the Queen of Swords. So this is beautiful. This is about you being fair to yourself for once. This Queen of Swords is about honestly asking, you know, am I too much for other people? Or are they just not enough? Like, am I too abrasive, or are other people just used to having other people placate them? And also ask yourself, what belief systems have I taken on about myself because of the negative reactions of other people and authority figures growing up? Because I feel like you're meant to be a bit heartless in terms of what you need to cut out in your life, and be really real and say, because you do have this like soft, gooey, loving heart, and that's why you're opinionated. That's why you stand up. Like, you're not this passionate about what you believe in and what you think because you just want to be a menace to society. You're that way because the way society operates is a menace to human beings. Like, you're that way because you're passionate and know that things could be different. You're that way because you know that the people that are spouting things you disagree with are closed-minded and are trying to control, you know, the people that are brave enough to question their reality and continue to. One way that you can remove blockages around being your authentic self is being a cold bitch when it comes to not letting yourself humor BS and not letting yourself hold on to things that you know are stifling you and that you know are keeping you small. This is about getting really honest with yourself and saying, how am I trying to avoid being myself? How am I hiding from the world? How am I not standing up for myself? And also, how can I be in my truth in a way where I'm supporting and nourishing the past versions of myself and affirming them in the ways that they weren't in the past? Like, really ask yourself, like, what are the beliefs? I know I already said this. Like, what are the beliefs that I've created about myself that aren't true? What are the viewpoints that set me free? I also think that this is about finding sources of wisdom, books, sources of learning, things that stimulate your mind and expand your mind, finding those things and allowing them to nourish you. And also finding things that support the version of yourself that you want to be and the person you want to become. I also think that there is a need to be a bit ruthless with yourself about, how do I try to keep the peace and how do I try to hold myself back in order to make other people feel more comfortable? And how does that cause discomfort in me and how does that hurt me? You know, how can I both be as respectful as possible to other people? Because you might also want to look at, you know, like, sometimes when we're passionate, we can be abrasive. I certainly am not the most passive gal in the world. I certainly have opinions and am quite aggressive sometimes, but not always. It's not like I wake up every day like, oh, how can I piss people off today? If anything, it stresses my Libra rising out. And if you got Libra placements, oh yeah, that's hard. It's hard. It's hard to be like to have an opinion and then also want harmony. But it's not, how can you have harmony with everyone? How can you find harmony within yourself even when being yourself creates less harmony around you? And realize that maybe it's not my responsibility to create harmony for everyone. Maybe it's just my responsibility to honor myself and accept and release what isn't mine. This is really asking you, what blockages do you have and what beliefs do you have that make you feel like you're inherently wrong for being yourself? And where are you making excuses for things, for people, and for environments that don't nourish you and that suppress you? Just because you love them doesn't mean they're good for you. I love Diet Dr. Pepper. I love it. Is it good for me? No. So, I have to set limits with it. I have to be more careful. Like, I have to find ways, like, okay, maybe drinking tea would be better than, a diet soda pop. I'm Midwestern. I love me my soda pops. And, if you're unwilling to get rid of it, how can you set boundaries with it? At the very least, how can you cut back? I feel like this is really about looking at things honestly and not looking at things at how you wish they were, especially not looking at how you wish you were. Let go of how you wish you were and be honest about who you are. Because I guarantee you what you're wishing to be is just an amalgamation of societal expectations and beliefs that you believe you have to conform to in order to be worthy, in order to be lovable. And that's just not the case. Because really think about it. Like, imagine if the universe let you reap all of these people, resources, energy by being inauthentic to yourself. That's literally teaching you that it's wrong to be you and that you're somehow, that you can only be good or you can only be supported if you deny who you are. That's messed up. Actually, the universe has been quite compassionate in not supporting your people-pleasing tendencies and not supporting the tendencies where you make yourself small. You need to be really honest with yourself and say, what ideals have I been projecting on myself that are just not me? If you think that you should be more quiet and timid and you're a loudmouth, why are you trying to make yourself a quiet, timid person? Get yourself a megaphone. Get louder. Other people can get earplugs. They can put their headphones in. They can walk away. Or they can shout back. And guess what? And you can shout right back too. Your job is to realize that a lot of what you were taught was wrong about yourself is in fact not wrong. It's just society and its belief systems projecting them onto you. How can you be both compassionate and strong? And how can you be both honest and ruthless when it comes to cutting out what doesn't serve you? Because that stuff is going to set you free and help you let go of weights that have been really holding you down. So, Spirit, how can pile 2 embodying their authentic self change the world for the better? Page of Cups. This is beautiful. You will help people take themselves less seriously. And you will also help people that have been afraid to use their voice, that have been afraid to speak up, realize that you can be both soft and hard. You can be both loud and quiet. That you can be more than one thing. I also think that you're here to help people realize that it's not the end of the world if people don't like you or don't agree with what you have to say. That's like being human. You're meant to experience dissenting opinions and dissenting energy. And this Page of Cups is meant to show people that you're not a bad person for standing up for what you believe in. You're not a bad person for being loud. And also, you can really heal yourself by just letting go of what you think you need to be and embracing what you are. Because once you do that, then you can earnestly look at yourself and say, okay, maybe I could change this approach and that might be a little bit more beneficial, or maybe I could do this or set better boundaries here. And that'll be enough to keep myself safe. But I also think with this Page of Cups here, you will help other people forgive themselves the same way that you've needed to forgive yourself. I also think that you're meant to be a leader for young people. I would be I would be willing to bet that whether you're meant to have children or not, I feel like you are meant to be an inspiration to the generations after you and show them that, hey, you can be sensitive and your sensitivities are not something that you should be ashamed of. Because you have those sensitivities too. That's why you're so passionate. That's why you stand up. That's why you speak your truth. Those sensitivities are not there to be shamed or stifled. They're there to open people up to a new way of experience that's maybe more compassionate. And also, you can challenge people without being abrasive. As you can tell, I probably haven't quite integrated that lesson yet, but maybe you have. You're meant to also show people that they don't have to hold on to this identity of being soft and sweet and not a problem. You can show people that they can be considered a problem to others and embrace it and realize that, yeah, if me fighting for a more just world, if me fighting for a world that is more compassionate is a problem to you, then hell yeah, I'm a fucking problem and I'm not about to stop. Like, you are here to show people how to stand up. And it's ironic because all of your cards show people sitting down, and I feel like you're meant to show people that you can take a stand without doing anything other than just embracing yourself. And also realize that it's okay to experience challenge and conflict. Like, forgiveness is an important lesson, and forgiveness is a powerful way to heal, and conflict is a powerful way to learn and grow. It is one of the aspects of the human experience. It's not all of them, but there are a lot of people that are avoidant of conflict who need your wisdom to realize, I can stand up and say no. I can set boundaries. I can be the people that I idealize by just embracing more of their traits within me. I can be more than I think I am, and I can be more than I could ever imagine. I also think that you're meant to inspire other people to be more creative and be more outspoken and use their sensitivities to share messages that matter rather than just sharing platitudes in the void. You know what I mean? I definitely think that you are meant to show people that sometimes to do something more compassionate, you have to be okay with other people disagreeing with you, with your opinion being attacked, with people being mad at you. Because yeah, the people that benefit from that, or that take advantage or that exploit other people's kindness and other people's fears of conflict, they're gonna be the ones that are pissed when other people stand up and say, no, actually, Ellen, that's not true. And that's why your presence is so important. Because not only do you need your strength and your inner child needs your strength, but other people need to see your strength to realize that they can be opinionated, they can be passionate, they can be sensitive, and they can be themselves. And however other people feel about it, it's not a reflection of their worth or a reflection of their value. It's just a reflection of that other person's experience. I feel like you're here to show people that they don't have to take things personally and they don't have to walk on eggshells. And if they do, that's a sign that they need to be walking elsewhere or caring less about who they're upsetting. Because some people just like to be miserable. Some people just like to be upset. And some people aren't interested in being challenged or growing. They're interested in dominating and oppressing and suppressing because they don't know how to be comfortable with dissenting opinion. And they're fearful and they're afraid and they have small minds and weak hearts and they're not strong enough to realize that it is diversity. It is difference in opinions. It is what makes us different and what makes us us, that helps us grow, helps us learn, helps us evolve. And you're doing the collective a disservice when you're not your authentic self. So let's see what blessings you will receive from embodying your authentic self. Pile 2, please, Spirit. What blessings will they receive from embodying their authenticity? Beautiful. Ace of Cups. Endless emotional fulfillment, opportunities for joy, creative expansion, abundance, and the ability to move from your heart. Because the thing is that when you're trying to be strategic about how you're received or feeling like you have to mitigate, people's responses, or you have to distill yourself or dilute yourself is the right word. you're cheating yourself and others. You will receive so much love from people that need to hear your voice, that need to hear your strength, that need to hear your opinion. And not only that, you'll be able to listen to your heart more, and your heart will be less confused by, oh, do I just, placate the people I love or the things that I love, or do I honor my love for myself and set boundaries so that other people can't exploit or distort that? Because it's that's going to help you listen to your heart more and know when your heart is safe and when it's not safe, and when your heart is trying to make excuses for someone that doesn't have your best interest at heart in the name of love, and when your heart is acting in the name of love, and when you do need to be firm and strong and stand up for yourself. This Ace of Cups is all about endless abundance emotionally, and also whatever you are attracting, your heart is the magnet that will lead you to it. If you're trying to get a relationship and you've been doing that by trying to hide who you are and be more palatable and be more agreeable, like that's the exact reason why you're not getting the relationship that you want. It's because you're attracting the wrong people. You need, the right person is going to love your outspokenness. They're going to love your creative, explorative, mind. They're going to love your intelligence. They're going to love how you challenge them, and they're going to want to grow with you. And also, you're going to spend less time being frustrated by the responses of others and more time being inspired by the wisdom of the universe and the beautiful things it has to offer. There's endless opportunity for more love, for more abundance, for more opportunity. And I feel like you will just feel more at peace, more at home, and you'll just have so much more energy to serve and give. And as a result, you'll receive a lot more. And it will just be so much easier to be you. And that's what you deserve. That's what you deserve more than anything. This Ace of Cups is all about new experiences, new emotional opportunities. You're not meant to have material abundance if it's only from a material place. You're meant to have emotionally satisfying abundance. You're meant to be in tune with your environment in a way where you know when you're full, you know when you have enough, and you know when you need more or you need less. There's a need for you to be unapologetic about what your heart wants in every aspect of your life. And by doing that and by embracing that, you will attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences, and the right resources in order to get you there. So beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a guidance card from Gaia and just see what our incredible Mother Earth has to say to you. I also think as well, just while I'm thinking of it, another thing that could help you embrace your authenticity is look at people who inspire you, and look at people, especially brave historical figures that went against dissent, like Joan of Arc, for example. She was really out here doing objectively crazy shit for a teenage woman back in the day. Well, girl, woman, kind of both. But she honored her authenticity, and it got her killed. But in that way, she lived on forever. Her message lived on forever, and now she's a saint. We're not here always for just warm and hugs and fuzziness. We're here to rattle cages and upset people, and sometimes that has consequences. And I'm not saying that you're gonna be Joan of Arc or anything, but what I am saying is that you need to be so unafraid of what people think or what people say that you don't even consider the consequences of being disliked or of being disagreed with, because you know that that's not what's important. There's so many people that need to hear your message that you will heal and empower by just sharing more of yourself, and those are the people that need you. That is where you're needed. And also, you need yourself, and you need your own support, because it's really going to be hard for you to get things done and be in alignment with abundance when you refuse to even accept all of your own wholeness. You know what I mean? But Mother Earth, Miss Gaia, What message or what guidance do you have for pile 2 that could be most aligned with their highest good, please? Okay. We have motion. Okay. Also, shout out to, I can't remember their username, but someone recommended that I get this deck. So thank you to whoever that was. If you're watching, thank you. I appreciate it. Motion. Cause and effect. Know what you want for the future and act accordingly. Beware of the forces influencing your decisions. A spoke in the wheel is a minor setback, not a disaster. Deal with it quickly and move on. Shifting a single limiting belief will release a flood of creativity, insight, and confidence. Replace hoping for change with acting for change. You have the power to free yourself from a lingering sense of guilt and fear that is holding you back. You can choose to let go or you can hold on. This card encourages you to release the blocks in your otherwise divine plan and be free. Remove the debris of doubt and be moved to hope as love and clarity flow within you once more. Everything is in constant motion. Coastlines, continents, and mountains are all moving. Some things can move much slower than others, and movement can be imperceptible. Our planet is moving, so even as we sit still, we are changing our position in space. And all that movement has a cause. Every movement is caused by another, going all the way back to the first movement, the very first act at the point of creation. Motion is predictable and largely mechanical. The exceptions are very small objects like atoms and objects traveling at the near speed of light. Setting a goal or a dream in motion is not a mysterious undertaking. It is mechanical. It requires action. The act of study moves ignorance to knowledge. A first attempt brings you closer to achievement. An act of love moves chaos to harmony. Newton's first law of motion states that every object will remain at rest or in uniform motion in a single straight line unless compelled to change its state by the action of an external force. Otherwise, you are the external force, literally. Likewise, people rarely change course unless compelled to do so by something outside of themselves. Knowing your underlying motives, the forces that compel you, can predict your direction, but it is your action that takes you there. So knowing you need to be your authentic self, but not being it, that's why that's important. And also just knowing that, like, you are the external force that's waking people up and getting people moving. And that's not always an easy role to have, but it's a powerful one, and it's one that only the bravest souls take on, and it's one that you should be really proud of and be inspired by, because your soul is stronger than you realize and your human self is stronger than you realize. And the only way you will know that is by facing the fears you have about standing up and being more of yourself and realizing, I can face this descent and I can rise and I can be more than I ever imagined. And the more you do that, the more powerful you will be. And so I feel like this is really saying, get up, pile 2, and get moving, and think less about how you're received and more about what you want to say. Think less about what you already know to be true and more about what you want to learn. And just embrace that you're meant to be more than you realize. Stop trying to make yourself so damn small. You're here to be big. Take up space and do so unapologetically. So pile 2, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you. Also, thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for me and my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. If you'd like to support me in other ways, like I said earlier, you can like this video, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You can check out my merch. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASA10 for 10% off. You can check out my social media, which is just Instagram, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Strawberry Quartz Moon and the Prism Tarot, this is going to be your reading on how your true authentic self can change the world, change your life, what parts of yourself you need to embrace more. I haven't decided the title of this yet, but welcome to your reading and thank you for being here. If you notice my voice sounds a little bit off, I had an extremely intense coughing fit right before I started your reading, and I'm not really sure why, but if that's why my voice sounds off, that's why, and I'm just hoping that like it'll dissipate as I move through the reading, but yeah, that's that. But let's go ahead and look at your cards that represent your authentic self. So to start, we have the Animal. We have the sun with being, essence, energy, self-awareness, life force, spirit, creativity, honor, masculinity, distinction, childishness, ego, individuality, solitude, expression, self-sufficiency, shine, heartbeat, father. We have the elk, which actually move this guy over here, move the elk over here. I like that. Okay, we also have poet. The light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language. The shadow attribute is turns a lyric gift into a negative or destructive effect. And finally, we have the peacekeeper with equilibrium, objectivity, and cooperation. This is really awesome. Pile 3, I really just want to start off by saying, like, you really don't give yourself enough credit for how selfless you are and for how far you go to care for the people around you. The sheer fact that we have this elk card, it's quite obvious that you take a lot of pride in your ability to care for others, in your ability to honor your morals and your integrity and act from that place, and also to be a consistent person that people not only can trust, but can rely upon to be a stable voice of wisdom. Even if you don't see yourself as wise, and even if you don't always see the benefits of your presence, I definitely think that deep down at your core, you know that you already make a vital difference in the lives of the people around you. But one thing I'm definitely seeing here is that your dedication to others and your dedication to upholding your principles may actually get in the way of your ability to be your authentic self at times. The fact that we have the animal here, I definitely think there is a part of you that has forgotten or that has felt like you can't honor the parts of yourself that are wild. And I think it's very important for you to remember that you're still human and having a human experience too. And just because you can hold it together better than most, and just because you can show up at a greater frequency than most, doesn't mean that you have to, and doesn't mean that you're obligated to. Because one thing that I see that's fallen by the wayside is your ability to honor your creative side and your need to be creative. The fact that we have the poet here, you could be really talented with words, or you could write poetry, or just find whatever your creative outlet is to be something that really nourishes your soul. And I wouldn't be shocked if you have a hard time honoring that, or if you feel like you don't even have the energy to explore those things or enjoy those things anymore. And I really want to ask you, how much of that is because of circumstances outside of your control? And how much of that is because of your belief that you can't say no to obligations, or that you are somehow a failure if you don't do what you think you should do? I definitely think that there is a part of you that is extremely self-sacrificing, and in some ways that can be an admirable thing, but in other ways it's not. Sometimes we can get attached to being a martyr, or, neglecting our own needs in favor of everyone else's. And I think in your case, that's getting in the way of you being your authentic self. I definitely think that you are someone, especially with this Peacekeeper card here, who doesn't like to stir the pot and will more often than not be the type of person to just say, I'm sorry, even if you don't feel that way, or be the type of person to go along with something just because you don't want to raise a fuss about it, or you don't want to create any problems. And I definitely think that in doing that, you create a lot of problems for yourself, and that's not fair to you. So I definitely think your authentic self is less self-sacrificing than the current version of you that you are right now. And I think that self-sacrificing has been conditioned in you, not only by the people that benefit from you self-sacrificing, but also by the praise and validation that you may receive by serving other people. And service is a wonderful thing, but it's not true service if you neglect yourself in the process. And let's not ignore the fact that in a lot of ways there are times where we need to step up to the plate, and we do need to give, and we do need to be self-sacrificing to the detriment of ourselves. You know, you might be a parent, you might be a caretaker, you might be in a position where you do have a lot of responsibility and you do have to show up for yourself. But that doesn't mean that you have to completely negate your own needs and treat your inner desires like a passing fancy that's unimportant. I feel like that is a part of your self that is really fallen by the wayside. And if you feel like you've kind of lost your spark or lost your fire or joy in life, I think that's a big reason why. I think there is a part of you that doesn't honor the fact that you're still human too, and that you're allowed to feel things like frustration, resentment, exhaustion, the need for a break. I feel like you hold yourself to inhuman standards and then beat yourself up when the human parts of you need to come out. I definitely feel like this reading found you today because, objectively speaking, you would never ask of someone else the things you expect of yourself. And that's so unfair and inauthentic to who you are, because you're not here to just be, you know, the saving grace of everyone else. You're here to have your own human experience as well. And there's nothing saying that you can't hire help for a night or, you know, take time to do things creatively when you have the chance to. You know, it's very easy to get wrapped up in guilt and shame when we do things that are just solely for ourselves, but it's those very things that help us show up better for other people because we're not showing up from a place of depletion. And giving of yourself and being there for others and being a support system for others is part of your authentic self. And it's not something you're meant to stop, but it is imbalanced. And it seems like because that part of you is most accepted and brings the most happiness to other people, it seems like it's very easy for you to honor those things and very easy for you to justify why your creative endeavors are less important or why, you know, you shouldn't need to have a break every now and then, or why you shouldn't be allowed to go do something that's just fun or wild. I definitely feel like you have been so conditioned to show up in certain ways that you've forgotten that there are other parts of you that need to be fed. And the fact that we have the Peacekeeper here, I definitely think that part of your authentic self and part of your authenticity is finding equilibrium with all parts of yourself and recognizing that, yes, you have a tremendous capacity to serve others and an incredible ability to lead by example and show up for people and take action and give of yourself so selflessly. But that's not all you are. And the world is missing out on your other gifts as well. You know, maybe some of the people that you help need to see you choose yourself and need to recognize, oh, maybe I've been taking advantage of pile three's kindness. Maybe I've been unfair to pile three. You know, people can't know that you're having a hard time if you don't speak up for yourself. And I think there is a part of you that is almost too proud to admit that at times you need a break, or at times you just need to have fun and be wild and silly. And if you find yourself falling into self-destructive habits or behaviors, I would be willing to bet it's those parts of you that feel unseen and unheard that are lashing out because they're tired of being ignored and neglected by you. You know, it's not a noble thing to give of yourself when you really should, to give of yourself to others when you really should be caring for yourself. It's like it's like what they say on a plane, like, put on your own oxygen mask and then you can help someone else. With the sun being here as well, I definitely think that you underestimate how important it is that you honor the fact that you are a human being and that you do have an ego and that you are allowed to feel a certain way and that you're honestly allowed to have feelings that you're uncomfortable with, or feelings that maybe your idealistic self or even your ego like doesn't want to acknowledge. I feel like you might beat yourself up for very natural and human responses that anyone would have when they're experiencing constant self-betrayal, or they're forcing themselves to play a role that neglects your emotional or spiritual needs. And really just your human needs. I feel like as well, you know, your body's physical needs may be falling by the wayside a bit. And I think the thing is like, you have such a powerful light and you have such a powerful ability to inspire others and help others stand up, but you can do that in so many more ways than just by being there for other people and you know, meeting their needs. For example, your way with words. I feel like my coughing fit was related to the fact that maybe you have pretty intense blocks in your throat chakra. Maybe you have a hard time accessing your own truth, or maybe you are really good at shutting down your own truth by justifying the reasons why it's frivolous or selfish, you know, to do things that only serve you. That's not the case. I mean, it can be if you're doing that to the detriment of your responsibilities, or you're neglecting others entirely, but that's not you. Part of your authentic self is to show up for other people, and is to give of yourself in ways that, you know, most people couldn't even fathom. And that's a beautiful thing, but your ability to do that will be so much easier when you're able to recognize the parts of you that maybe you have been neglecting as a result of being so selfless. I think it's time for you to be a little bit more selfish and find a peaceful equilibrium within yourself. And it doesn't have to be 50-50, you know, maybe it's 70-30 or 80-20, where, you know, a lot of your role and a lot of what you do is giving of yourself to others and is being of service. But you take that time, whether it's once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe even more than that, once every day, to just do something that nourishes your soul or nourishes your heart or just allows you to be wild. Whether that's doing something active or howling at the moon. You know, the animal card talks about when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a lion. And sometimes we just need to give ourselves permission to dance really goofily or sing at the top of our lungs, or just do things that remind us that we're alive and that we're human and that, you know, we have needs, and that's not something to be ashamed of. You're a human being, not a human doing. And part of your authentic self is dying for you to acknowledge that you need more self-nourishment. And by doing that, not only will you be able to balance out your service by, one, not saving people from lessons that they need to learn on their own, but two, helping you be more effective in how you serve, and recognizing where maybe you're compromising your own morals and your own integrity because you're holding yourself to standards that you wouldn't hold other people to, and having expectations of yourself that you would never ask someone else to have. You have a beautiful creative mind and a creative soul and an abundance of creative energy that I definitely think you're not able to tap into when you're so constantly drained or so focused on, you know, the things that you think are more important than that. Instead of thinking that any aspect of your authentic self is more or less important, try to look at all aspects of yourself as equally important, you know? You need to honor your body's need for rest. You need to honor your body's need for fun, for exercise, for proper nutrition. You can't expect yourself to run on fumes and operate at full capacity. And I really think that your authentic self is one where you are able to honor the self-loving and other-loving, that's not really a word, parts of yourself, and learning how to balance those two, because you can do both. And when they are in balance, giving of yourself will be so much easier. And honoring the parts of yourself that maybe you've had trouble acknowledging or have even forgotten existed will be easier as well. And I also think too, you underestimate how understanding people can be. And I would be willing to bet that even some of the people you show up for and care for probably encourage you to take more time to yourself, and maybe you brush them off or, you know, tell yourself you don't need to. And I would really encourage you to take their advice. Nobody can do that for you. And I really think that one aspect of your authentic self that you're missing out on is the part of you that's spontaneous, the part of you that doesn't meticulously plan or have a justification for why you want to do something, but rather it's just you feel the impulse and you do it. Like, when's the last time you masturbated? Like, with peace and love, like, you deserve to feel good too. Like, and that's not, like, that shouldn't even be a shameful thing to think about. Like, everybody deserves to feel pleasure, and like, it's not a shameful thing. Like, when's the last time you've let yourself just hang out with a friend and just have wild fun and not think about it? When's the last time, like, you gave yourself unapologetic permission to just be and do things that feel good? It may be so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to nourish those parts of yourself. And I definitely think this reading came to you today to be like, hey, pile 3, we need to care for ourselves a little more. We need to balance ourselves out, because we are not being authentic to a whole ass part of ourselves, and heavily propping up the other aspect. Not to minimize you into two halves, but, you know, if we're generalizing like all of your wonderful traits, you know, the traits that do not have in your mind a direct benefit to the outside world, it might be a lot harder for you to justify honoring those, but those are no less important. You're just as important as the people that you give and serve to, and it's important you recognize that. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into the tarot, because I definitely think that for a lot of you, you know the parts of yourself that you've been neglecting. And for others of you as well, you may just need to like give yourself permission to not know what those parts of you are, but give yourself room and freedom to explore. It really doesn't have to be that complicated. And it could be as simple as just honoring your need for rest and honoring your need to just do something that you enjoy every now and then. Like, just because you have responsibilities and just because there may be people that depend on you doesn't mean that you're meant to just become this emotionless robot that is just able to neglect their needs and show up perfectly. You're not a Stepford wife, like, period. You're not a Stepford husband. You're not a Stepford person. You're a human being, not a human doing. And you really need to start honoring the fact that you're a flawed human being, and that's part of embracing your authenticity. And self-flagellating anytime you don't meet your unrealistic expectations is only going to create more pain and more division within you that leaves you more lost, and will likely, as a result, probably lead to more self-destructive behavior and the tendency to lean even more into the parts of yourself that your ego feels comfortable with and that you've been upholding. And it's just gonna make it worse. Your authentic self is perfect. And I think that once you start to honor that and recognize those needs within you and advocate for yourself and just, you know, have the strength to honor those things, the more you'll realize, like, wow, I can't believe that I was going without like being creative for so long. I can't believe I was like neglecting these parts of myself for so long. Like, your body needs you. Your heart needs you. And if your mind continues to drive you to the brink of exhaustion based on ideals, those ideals are not ideal, period, and they're not serving you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see how you can embody more of your true self. So, Spirit, how can pile 3 embody more of their authentic self? 8 of Cups. Yeah, walk away. This is all about you walking away from what isn't serving you. For some of you, that is about reducing the responsibilities on your plate. If you are the type of person to jam-pack your schedule, you may have to ask yourself, what commitments are eating up my time and energy that don't really serve me? What things have I been promising myself to that I don't get any return on? You know, there are definitely things in your life and in your world that are emotionally draining and that do not give anything back to you, that you have been loyal to because you think you should be or because you think you need to be. And that is completely invalidating the parts of you that are saying, hey, pile 3, we need to like just have a little bit of fun, or like we need more than 4 hours of sleep, or like we need to distance ourselves from the people that make us feel bad from making decisions that nourish us. You can embody more of your authentic self by being honest about how your ideals and expectations of yourself are creating more inauthenticity within you and towards others, that are keeping you trapped in cycles of depletion and that are making you feel like you're a bad person should you honor your own human needs and desires and wants. That doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you a human. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to honor. You know, we're not robots. We're not here to just do other people's bidding, as much as they might like to convince us otherwise. Having the strength to just honor the fact that, you know, it's not your responsibility to save everyone from their mistakes. It's not your responsibility to be there for everyone to the detriment of yourself. And realize too that even if you do have responsibility over people, and even if you are responsible for people, it's still not impossible to find ways to give yourself some rest. Whether that's like, you know, hiring someone or asking someone if they would be willing to help you so that you can take the night off. And maybe that means an exchange of resources, whatever it may be. You have a creative soul and you can create solutions that I think your mind has convinced you that aren't even worth pursuing, because if you even considered that, then you would be a failure. And that's the thing, is like, you're able to do and achieve more than most. It's actually delusional for you to believe in any capacity that you are a failure. And for the people that especially those that are not under your direct care and that you're not directly responsible for, if they do things to guilt and shame you for just honoring your needs, like, they're selfish dicks, like, with peace and love, like, and obviously they're human beings with needs and wants and all that too, but as long as you let them take advantage of you and you don't stand up for yourself, you're enabling their selfish, dickish behavior, and that's not your job. And if they are mean to you and unkind to you because you start choosing yourself, then that is all the more evidence that they weren't worthy of your service in the first place, because true service is given from the heart, and it is given easily. You know, true service doesn't come from a place of because I think I should. That's giving from a place of fear. That's giving from a place of lack. That's giving from a place of not love. And even if you're giving to others because you love them, it's not true love if it neglects yourself. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like how we talk about unconditional love. Unconditional love does not mean accepting poor, toxic, or abusive behavior because you love someone. Unconditional love is having the strength to set the boundaries that are loving towards you, and knowing that you're not responsible for other people's reactions, and that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is set boundaries with someone, is walk away from something that's not serving you, and is making the decisions that while your mind may not like them, you know that you need them, and you know they're the most loving response to you. Unconditional love is not unconditional if it does not extend to yourself. And if people use that term of unconditional love to try and guilt trip you and manipulate you into doing their bidding, just know that that's quite literally conditional love. They're saying, you only get my love if you do the things that I'm telling you to. So that the person that's goading you into that, they don't even know what unconditional love is. And what is keeping the peace with others worth if it leads to inner turmoil and detriment within yourself? You deserve to serve yourself as well as you serve other people. And that can be sometimes the hardest thing of all, but it's the most worthy endeavor, because not only will you be less likely to fall into pitfalls of other people's guilt trips and manipulation, but also you'll feed your soul again in ways that just set your heart on fire and give you more energy, not only to give to others, but to feed, you know, your dreams and your desires and the things that you want to create and experience. Like, you're not here to be a workhorse or a work elk. Sure, you have an amazing capacity to give, but if you're not being given anything in return, and if there is not some direct reason why what you're serving is under your responsibility or care, and even if they're under your responsibility and care, that doesn't mean that you can't find ways to make sure that you still get care for yourself. It's not true service. It's giving from a place of lack. So let's look at how to remove blockages around embodying your authentic self. So Spirit, how can pile 3 remove blockages they may have about embodying their authentic self? We have the King of Cups with emotional maturity. Yeah, this is beautiful. So this is about recognizing that you're not responsible for the emotions or the emotional tantrums of others, and that their responses are theirs, and it's not your job to make yourself smaller in order to make themselves comfortable. It's not your job to walk on eggshells around them in order to make them happy. And also, it's your job to realize that nobody is gonna sit down. Well, I guess maybe I'm sitting down and giving you the permission. I guess maybe somebody will. I will give you, pile 3, you have permission to choose yourself, and you have permission to honor your heart. But more often than not, it is likely that nobody is going to sit down and give you permission to honor yourself. And so you need to give yourself that permission. Because also, there may be people that if they knew that how much you were overextending yourself, they wouldn't want your help in the first place. And those are the homies. Those are the ones that genuinely care for you. And those are the ones that you have to be upfront with. Because, like, well, you need to be upfront with everyone, let's be real. But being honest about, like, hey, like, you know, I would love to be there for you, but like, unfortunately, you know, this is my only night off this week and I just really need to rest. And honestly, in the words of Mary-Kate and Ashley, our Lords and Saviors, no is a complete sentence, and you don't have to even give an explanation to someone. Sometimes having emotional maturity is just recognizing that it's okay to disappoint other people. It's okay to make other people upset when you honor yourself. It's not your job to fix it. It's not your job to soothe them, but it is your job to be there for yourself. You need to have the strength to recognize that it's emotionally immature to keep yourself locked in behavior that you don't identify with and that isn't serving you because you're trying to save yourself from emotional volatility from someone else. Emotional maturity is having the strength to not allow people to even bring that stuff to your doorstep, to have the strength to say, you know what, like, you're entitled to your feelings, but it is not okay to talk to me this way. It's not okay to treat me this way. It's not okay, you know, to be vindictive towards me. And that it is okay to set boundaries, even if that means blocking, even if that means cutting someone out, or at the very least, you know, setting extreme boundaries and seeing how they deal with those, and then maybe letting them up gradually and seeing how that evolves. This is about recognizing that you need nourishment too. And oftentimes it's those who are so giving of others that forget to include themselves in the healing and in the giving and in the caring. And also, I think one thing that you could do is have the strength to ask others for help, you know? And maybe that's not even like asking other people for help in practical matters, but maybe, you know, if you have a friend that's very creative, say, hey, could you maybe like give me a writing lesson, or could we do something creative together? And you know, I just need the motivation, or I need to do something for me, but it's really hard to do it on my own. Like, even just asking for company, asking for a listening ear, you know? Maybe this too is also having the strength to recognize where you just maybe need more support and resources. Like, for example, if you're a caretaker, if you're not in therapy or not getting external support, like, I would highly recommend, if you have the means to do so, to try. And if you don't, maybe finding circles or support networks, whether online or in your community, that could allow you to vent your frustrations and just be in an environment where people understand what you're dealing with, and you don't have to explain yourself or justify why you feel the way that you do, but rather just be able to be honest and authentic about how you're feeling, because that in of itself can be so cathartic. And you know, we can have like things going on inside of us for quite a long time before we even begin to realize like how much they've been wreaking havoc on us internally. Speaking your truth makes it real, and being honest about what you're experiencing gives you the freedom to stop invalidating yourself and making baseless justifications for why you should be invalidating yourself. You know, the mind can come up with a lot of silly reasons why we should be doing something or why we have to do something. And they're more often than not true. And it usually takes putting it on paper or just hearing it out loud to be like, wait a second, this is distorted. This is not right. I need to be kinder to myself. I need to give myself more grace. I need to forgive myself for holding myself to such high expectations that are quite literally impossible for anyone to meet, and for having expectations of myself that I would never expect other people to have. Just because you're capable of giving more doesn't mean that you should have to. And in fact, that's all the more reason why you should challenge yourself to give more to yourself, and to have the strength to know when to say no, and to know when to choose your own needs, and to know when you just need space or distance or alone time or the opportunity to do things that are just solely for you. Because if you don't give yourself that permission, who will? I mean, I will. I give you permission, but like, I need you to give yourself permission too. Anyway, let's see how embodying your authentic self will change the world. So, Pile 3, Spirit, how will they change the world by embodying their authentic self? We have the Novice of Lightning, which is exploration in this card. I think this is the Page of Wands. I definitely think that not only will you help yourself get more in touch with your inner child, but also I think that you could provide a lot of inspiration and joy, not only to the people in your inner circle, but to the people that look up to you, to realize that you don't have to hold yourself to the limitations and barriers that you think are necessary in order for you to be a valid person. With this Page of Wands energy, I feel like you're also meant to inspire other people to realize that they're not meant to be selfless or a martyr, selfless to the detriment of themselves, or a martyr either. That there's always more to discover about yourself, and that you deserve to have new and fun experiences. You deserve to do things that light your inner child on fire. You deserve to do things that are fun and silly and playful and not have a justification for them. I feel like by embracing more of that energy, you will naturally lighten up the people around you in a way where you not only feel less unapologetic about honoring your own needs, but you inspire other people who are similar to you to do more of the same. Because I really do think that if you're not a wise elder now, you certainly will be one. And I think that by exploring, you know, your desires, like if you want to travel, if you want to try new things, if you want to take different classes, or if you just want to explore your inner worlds, I genuinely feel like by doing that, you will inspire others to do the same. And not only that, but I think that your own inner exploration could help you serve in ways that maybe you didn't realize you could before. I feel like one of the detriments of neglecting your own needs has been that you've limited your opportunities and abilities to evolve and expand. And I think what other people need to see from you is that no matter how rooted you are in your own experiences, or no matter what ideas you have about yourself, you can always change them. And you can always do something differently. And you can always make a different decision. I think other people need to see that even the most serious, even the most committed, even the most stable of people need to be free to go wild sometimes. And I think more people need to see other people embrace their wild side, embrace, like I'm hearing Born to Be Wild right now. Like, you were and you are. And I feel like other people need that vibe from you. You know, if you have the strength to give of yourself so selflessly, you have the strength to give to yourself selfishly. It's not selfish. You may view it as selfish, but it's more just honoring your needs. And I think what you may realize is that you're also, when you take your energy back, when you give less of yourself, you're giving the people that you've been saving from themselves the opportunity to actually start finding solutions to get out of their situation. If you allow people to be dependent on you and convince you that they can't, that they simply cannot survive without your support or without your help, and like I said, it's different if like you are a parent or you are a caretaker. Like, there are nuances with this. I'm not saying like abandon your children or anything like that, but also, like, if you genuinely need a break, like, honoring that need and finding a way to make that happen is so important. And also, you know, are there ways that you can both honor your responsibilities and give to yourself? Whether that is taking your kids to a class you're also interested in, or finding groups where, you know, your kids can meet new people and you can also, you know, do something you're interested in. Like, there are so many ways in which you can create new connections and you can inspire other people to help themselves more. I definitely think that you pulling your energy back will inspire anger in those who take advantage of you. And those are the people that need you to take your energy back the most. Because without you pulling your energy back, they can't free themselves to realize that they're capable of solving their own problems. And I think that the more you do that, the more people will realize that by being dependent on other people to meet their needs in ways that they can meet their own, they're not only cheating themselves, but they're keeping themselves stuck in a cycle of disempowerment. So not only do you disempower yourself by giving to the detriment of yourself, but also you disempower those people because they're receiving unnecessary help and help that is not required for them. And sometimes people do need to learn a tough lesson that, yeah, if you exploit the people that care about you, you will get less access to them. Yeah, if you guilt and shame people into doing your own bidding, eventually they're gonna wake up, smell the sauce, and realize that they need to honor their own needs. And that doesn't make you a villain. If you're the villain in their story, so be it. But you're giving them the freedom to explore their story and write a new narrative for themselves as well. Other people need to see you honor yourself, honor your rhythms, and honor your needs. Because if you don't, other people may buy into the belief that it's the sensible thing to neglect themselves. It's the sensible thing to give of others to the detriment of themselves. And I know I keep saying that over and over and over, but it really needs to be hammered home. You know, I think in so many ways we can be conditioned to give of ourselves and not even realize how much we're draining ourselves, or how much we are like drained. Like, just human beings can really get used to anything, and we can really put up with unfavorable situations for way too long. And you are here to wake people up by saying, you know what, I need to care for myself, and you need to step up and care for yourself as well. You know, if you are the type of person to, you know, give in and cater to other people's victim mentalities, it is time for you to recognize that you don't serve yourself or them by giving in to their victim complex, but rather by helping them see that they can save themselves, or just take more power in general. You give them the power to not only be your own hero, but be their own hero as well. And if they want to drown, that's on them. They can blame you all they want, but at the end of the day, you can't swim for them. You didn't tell them to get in the water in the first place. You have to be your own strength, and remind yourself that just because you have a selfless heart, and just because you can empathize with people, and just because you want to take other people's pain away, doesn't mean that you are required to, or that you even should. It is your job to find a balance within yourself so that you can be at peace with honoring your own needs, and recognize that if honoring your own needs causes discourse in the not discourse, I mean, it could create discourse, but I meant to say discord in the lives of people that benefited from you being so self-sacrificing, like, that is not your job to fix. And you don't even have to listen to that noise. And in fact, it'll be a lot easier to turn it off when you realize how good it feels to just embrace your authenticity and be honest about not only when you can't be there for others, but when you don't want to. It's okay. Like, it's okay. You know, you are not going to be the worst parent in the world if you get takeout one night instead of giving them a nutritious meal. I mean, what kid doesn't love dino nuggets? Like, what kid doesn't love mac and cheese? Like, kids love processed crap. I'm like 25 and I love processed crap. Like, sometimes it's good for the soul. I don't know what that rant was about, but like, even the things that are like, you know, like weaponized incompetence. I think that one thing that you are meant to do is not let people play that shit with you, and not play those games, because most people are far more capable than they realize, and oftentimes it takes the things that they've been dependent on, you know, saving them from themselves, being taken away in order for them to realize that. And as long as you don't honor that and don't honor your own rhythms, you're keeping you and the people that you're serving sacrificially, like, nobody wins. When you choose yourself and when you choose your needs, not only if you are responsible for people, not only do they need to see you model self-care and honor and model those needs, but also the people that exploit you and manipulate you into doing their bidding need to realize that that's not going to fly anymore. And that's not your job. And if they can manipulate someone else into doing it, that's fine. That's their lesson. But you don't have to play into it anymore. This is about recognizing what's in your control and realizing that there could be options and solutions that you're not seeing because you're holding yourself to some moral system that is actually extremely illogical and detrimental to your well-being. So let's see what blessings you will receive from embodying your authentic self. Yes, with the Seven of Swords here, scarcity mentality, dude, you're gonna have so much more energy. You're gonna have so much more time. Like if you say now, like, I can't be creative, like I don't have the energy. Yeah, it's because you're giving it to everyone else, babe. Like that's gonna happen. Like, yeah, it's gonna be hard to see the abundance within and around you when anytime you have a sense of nourishment, you immediately want to give it to the people that don't have it. You're not a monster for just taking care of yourself. And contrary to what some disempowered people might want you to believe, you know, you're not betraying them by choosing yourself. You're betraying yourself when you choose them over you. When you give from a balanced place, you will receive in a balanced way. And the way that you give is not meant to be so self-sacrificing. Like, if there's one thing you take from this reading, is stop self-sacrificing. That's not part of your authenticity. Part of your authenticity is to be of service, yes. But there are so many ways that you can be of service that you haven't even seen because you've pigeonholed into certain ways of being there for others. And I would be willing to bet those are very practical. But like, dude, think about all of the amazing, incredible writers out there who inspire other people with their words. Maybe you're meant to do that. Think of all the people that use their creativity to serve others, that use their ability to care for themselves to serve others. Like, there are so many ways in which you can serve that you're not even thinking of because you've convinced yourself that the only acceptable ways to serve are X, Y, Z. And the beautiful, beautiful blessing that you will get by embracing your authenticity is seeing how your mindset and how your belief system has depleted your time, your energy, your resources, and your ability to be more, to do more, to have more, and do it more easily. It doesn't have to be this hard, and it doesn't have to be this draining. And a lot of the reason why it is because you're allowing it to be that way and not standing up for yourself and not advocating for yourself. Like I said, there are nuances with this, and there are times, like as a parent, like you are going to be drained. You are going to have to self-sacrifice, and as a caretaker as well. But that doesn't mean that you can't find creative ways to get your needs met. And that doesn't mean that it's impossible. And that it may very well be that you are convincing yourself that you're a terrible person if you hire a babysitter for a night or hire a caretaker for a night and go do something for you. You're not a terrible person. And in fact, it's very important if you do have children or if you do have people that are dependent on you to see that you're still caring for yourself. And I guarantee if you're a caretaker that the recipients of your care, like, probably feel really bad that you know, I think it can be just as hard to be a recipient of care as it is to care for someone when you know that, you know, your needs are depleting someone else. I think it could actually be, if you are a caretaker, it could be really healing for the souls that you care for to see you care for yourself. Because I guarantee you, you've been encouraged to do that and you haven't listened to them because you've neglected yourself. The biggest blessing is letting go of a mentality that is too small for you, that is too limiting, that is turning you into a shell of yourself, and that is making you believe that you are only valuable if you are crucifying yourself. That's not the case. You are not Jesus. You are you. You are pile 3. Whatever your name is, and you are just as worthy of care and of nourishment as anyone else. So with that being said, let's go ahead and finish this reading off with a message from Gaia, Mother Earth, and see what guidance she has for you. Shout out to whoever recommended this deck for me. It's the Sacred Earth Oracle. I can't remember your username, but one of you commented that I should get this deck because it was right up my alley, and you were right. And thank you for recommending it because it's a wonderful deck. So just, I hope you're watching this. Shout out to you. Thank you. Anyway, Miss Mother Earth, Miss Gaia, what guidance do you have for pile 3? that they need to hear at this time? Okay. We have renewal. How can you renew if you refuse to change? Giving something a try is not making a lifelong obligation. You can switch, swap, and refine your interests, friends, lovers, careers, plans, home as often as you'd like. If something doesn't fit right, try something new. And if that doesn't work out, try something else. What you're looking for could be around the next corner. There is no failure in moving on or starting over. Listen, your heart is calling. A thirsty heart cannot be quenched by logic. It must drink from the well of life and be replenished. Each time it breaks, it comes to hold more, but its essence does not change. Your heart holds your truth in every breath. What does it say? Listen and you shall be reborn. Billowing blankets of snow, fleecy eiderdown clouds, unblemished sheets of ice like freshly laundered linen for land. Oh my God, alliteration. Sky and sea, creamy wisps of white, that's what she said, flow and swirl across the heavens and cover Earth's extremities. Unbroken white stretches out like a fresh canvas as nature pauses to consider where to make the first brush stroke. A winter dawn, iced white like a page not yet written, a love not yet tasted, a day not yet lived. Footprints in the snow, shapes in the clouds, tracks in the ice disappear like they never were. Life makes its mark with no obligation, no expectation, and its masterpiece is lost beneath the next snowfall. White, where time is frozen, like an expectant hiatus lost to a blank page. Refreshing, perpetual renewal is here, now, always, awaiting you. And yeah, I mean, if that's not reiterating everything that I was saying, and actually this is the most like poetic of all of the cards that I've read so far. Like a lot of the other like last third blurbs have been more scientific in nature, and I think that's really interesting. Like I think that you need to be inspired by more symbolism and by more inspiration that's not just straightforward, but that requires you to think differently and look at things differently. But more than anything, no, you're not meant to be so depleted. You're not meant to be so exhausted. And the fact that you are is a sign that you need renewal and you need to honor yourself. And like SpongeBob, not advocating for his needs when he's in Sandy's dome and quite literally drying out. He needed to tell Sandy that he needed water. And when he did that, Sandy was happy to oblige. And then from that day on, whenever SpongeBob and Patrick visited Sandy, they had their beautiful little water helmets, right? And they were able to nourish themselves in an environment that wasn't supportive to their true nature. And so never doubt your ability to find renewal even within systems and environments you're still breaking free from. You can be renewed in every moment by just knowing that in every moment you can choose differently, and in every moment you can choose yourself. And I know that after this reading, you will start choosing yourself more and you will honor yourself. I know it. If you want to serve someone, how about you serve me by serving yourself and honoring your own rhythms? There, now you can justify it and you can say, do it for me. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for me, okay? Until you can do it for yourself. Don't keep it that way forever. At least at some point, transfer it to you. But if you can't find a reason to do it for yourself, then do it for me. Until you can do it for you. So pile 3, that is where I'm going to leave your reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else. Ooh, bourbon. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show appreciation for me and my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch. You can check out my social media. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. or you can check out my other videos, especially the ones with the extendeds. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Malachite Cube and the Embroidered Forest Tarot, this is going to be your reading on your authentic self, why you should embrace and embody it, and how by doing that you can change your life and the world around you. Okay, let's get into it. So you guys actually got an extra oracle card, so this is not going to be the most beautiful looking, but if you want a full breakdown of the reading, there is one in the intro. So starting by looking at your authentic self, we have the Judge, we have the Sea Serpent, we have Pluto with transformation, renewal, inner resources, basic instinct, motivation, personal power, evolution, composting, cycles, death, rebirth, subversion, suspicion, obsession, intensity, reckoning, taboos, clearing, extremes. We have Vampire, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Shadow attributes, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. Finally, we have the Channeler, collective, mission, understanding. And we have vulnerability, showing up, honesty, communion. Okay, let's just do this. I lied. We can make it look pretty. Yay. Oh, Pile 4, I love this. And I must say, like, if any of you, like, if this is not your first reading with me, I would not be shocked if you relate to me a lot. We would probably be friends in real life, because you're definitely the vibe, and I love your authentic self. I would be willing to bet that we've had a lot of similar experiences, and a lot of what I'm about to talk about you may be able to relate to. So the fact that we have the Judge here, we're going to talk about your big heart, but I want to talk about your big mind, because one of the things that is so important about your authentic self is that you are able to discern, and you are able to use not only your greater mental faculties, but your heart space to recognize where things are just and unjust. I wouldn't be shocked if you've experienced a lot of criticism towards yourself and really struggled with like judging yourself and being like judgmental in general. That's actually a really hard thing. Like, we often think we're not judgmental people, but if you really think about it, we make judgments all the time. What I found is that instead of judging, doing your best to just be discerning is actually way better, because discernment has compassion, and discernment doesn't require you to like make a judgment about something, but rather it just helps you be aware of like whether something is aligned with you or not. You are definitely someone who sees through a lot of the veneer of social constructs and sees things as they are rather than how we think they are. You know, you would be the type of person that in shadow, you probably are very critical of the world around you, very frustrated, very hopeless, very defeated. But when you're empowered, you're probably very passionate about the causes you care about. You're probably very passionate about justice. This gives me like Ma'at energy. The ancient Egyptian goddess Ma'at, you know, she judges souls that come to the afterlife, and she weighs their heart with a feather to see if they have been just and fair in their life. The fact that we have Vampire here, you're definitely Edward Cullen. Just kidding. But I would be willing to bet, especially when you are in your shadow, it might be easy for you, or maybe you resonate in the past with just being drained by your own state of being, or feeling like maybe your frustrations around the world, about the world around you, are kind of draining. But this is actually meant to be something that empowers you to realize how the things and people around you can be very draining as well. Even if you're not even intentionally trying to be draining, it could possibly be like you may look back and realize like, oh, when I was younger, like, yeah, you know, like chronic complaining or codependency, like you may have not felt like you were strong enough or that you were good enough to stand on your own. And what is so beautiful is like, Your authentic self is one that is meant to be a heart for humanity in whatever way that is. The fact that we have the channeler here, maybe you do tarot or something like that. Shout out to other readers. If you guys want to comment on your channel, because like links aren't allowed on my in my comment section, because spam bots will use it for, you know, PORN websites. But you know, if you want to comment below and be like, hey, this is my channel, you know, go support other readers. Like, hello, hi. Anyway, yeah, support other readers. Don't be afraid to speak up for yourself, speak up for your channel. Tell us what you're about. Tell us if there's a specific video you're especially proud of. I'm not necessarily able to watch a ton of like readings for myself anymore, because it's very important that I listen to my own guidance, but I am sure that there are plenty of people who would love to check you out and maybe just don't know you exist yet. So feel free to do that. But your authentic self is one that is in a constant state of regeneration. The fact that we have this sea serpent here, this is the sacral chakra. And this chakra is all about creativity, desires, relationships, attachments, and you are really meant to have a very powerful sacral chakra, one that is regenerative and one that is a constant well of creative nourishment, not only for the world, but for yourself too. I also feel like your authentic self is one that is fully comfortable in your body. Not in a way where maybe you're like fully happy with everything about your body, but rather you just own it. This is my body. I deserve to feel good. I deserve, you know, to adorn myself with the things that make me feel good, things like that. This is also the energy of the sea serpent energy, is all about like embracing and owning our desires and our needs. And one thing that you're meant to do is, when you are being in your authentic self, you're meant to be honest about those desires. You're meant to be honest about, you know, your emotions and express them freely and vulnerably. And that can actually be a really hard thing. You know, a lot of times people want to look at vulnerability as weakness, but it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. Like, I will say personally, like, if I didn't have such a spicy brain that was like incapable of being anything other than myself, I probably would not be as authentically myself, because, you know, it is scary and it is challenging to like just be so raw and honest with the world about who you are. But it's such a gift, because yeah, it can be painful when people don't understand you, or people, you know, shut you down, or just don't get your vibe. But think about how many people need someone like you, need someone who can see them authentically and meet them. You know, I love this vulnerability card because, you know, the two women in the picture, they are meeting, they're coming from different places, but they're meeting at the middle, and they are communing and showing up for each other. And I just think that's beautiful. Your authentic self is one who needs relationships and experiences where you can give of yourself wholeheartedly. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I think that your authentic self has an incredible capacity to give. And when you're balanced, you can give so much without over depleting yourself or allowing other people to drain you. Because this vampire card is also about the fact that I wouldn't be shocked if people here have had people take advantage of like your kindness or your compassion in the past, and kind of use that for their own ego or for their own nourishment, and it's probably left you drained. I wouldn't be shocked if you've experienced dark night of the soul, or if you're going through one right now, hang in there. I'm so sorry that, like, if you are going through that, I'm so sorry. And I just want you to know this is not even remotely the end. This is just the beginning, because with Pluto being here, you guys are meant to be a force and a powerhouse. And I would definitely look at where Pluto is in your chart. If you have anything like Sun conjunct Pluto, Pluto in the first house, Lilith on the ascendant, like for example, me, I have Lilith on the ascendant, all of those placements are oftentimes indicative of just like inherent power. And when you're that way, it can often be really challenging when you're growing up and you don't know your own power. Or it's not even when you're growing up though, it doesn't matter. Like, even though our bodies may stop like growing at a certain age, or, you know, I guess they're always evolving, right? Growth never technically stops. And I feel like in your case, your authentic self is one that is in constant flux, but is always transforming for the greater good. You are certainly not someone who is meant to be loving and compassionate from a place of naivety. You're someone who is meant to be loving and compassionate from a place of knowing suffering, moving through suffering, and having compassion for the fact that there are so many other beings. Like, I mean, really, most beings, like, there's no human that leaves this earth unscathed, right? Like, suffering is part of the human experience, and you know that. Your authentic self is one that serves a greater cause than you. You know, we have Aquarius energy here. You care about people. Your authentic self is meant to be a humanitarian in some way, and know that you're not meant to be a martyr for your cause, but whatever you do care about, you can powerfully make positive change in gentle ways. Your power lies in your heart and in owning all of you, especially your feelings and especially your desires, because those are the things that are going to help people know, like, why you do the things that you do and why you care. You know, I think one of the really sad things is that when we haven't had people genuinely care about us for who we are, or just have people that want to be kind for the sake of being kind, or that just want to be in our company for the sake of just appreciating who we are, it's easy to be suspicious about the intentions of other people. And one thing you do have to know is that there will be people that are suspicious of that. But all you can do is be vulnerable and show up with your heart. And if people, whether people believe it or not, like, the truth is in you, and you show that truth by just showing up as yourself. Your authentic self is one that is learning how to find the balance between your own individual self and the greater collective spirit of humanity. You are here to show people the way by finding your own way. And the Judge card is so important here, because you are here also to see through illusions around things like fear-mongering, around things like judgment in general, and see through, you know, concepts that are rooted in prejudice and malice, and be strong enough to say gently, you know, no, I say no to this, I reject this. Your authentic self is one that has the capacity to create powerful change, not only in your own life, but in the lives of others, just by being you. And that's so beautiful. And I love this pile because it's kind of an amalgamation too of all the past piles that we looked at. So if you're drawn to any of the others, feel free to check them out. Though this reading ended up being a lot longer than I was anticipating. So I understand if you're like, Aso, like, with peace and love, I only have enough hours in the day. So I don't blame you. But you are a force to be reckoned with, and your authentic self is meant to own your power and not be fearful of it. In fact, it is the people that are most careful with their power that are the most discerning of it. I think we've all had experiences in our life where people have used their position to abuse their power, or have used their power for negative things. And it can be easy to almost believe that power is something that makes you bad. But I don't think that's the truth. I think that power reveals rather than corrupts. And I also think that even if you are corrupted by that, you can always change and you can always make a different choice. There's this beautiful energy of you being permeable to the outside world, but also having strong boundaries where it matters. You're able to share and commune with people that you can connect with at a heart-centered place. Like if you see here, like the two women, their hands are showing like right where their hearts are. And they almost have, you know, their own auras, but their circles are linking, and they are creating union together. And your authentic self is meant to have relationships like that. And one thing I will say is that those relationships are so real, dude. Like, I have met some of my best friends in the entire world through like this journey, and through becoming, like, you know, the version of myself that I am now. And it's only allowed me to be even more loving, even more compassionate, and get to know my friends more deeply, and have even deeper and more meaningful relationships. And the more you have that relationship with your authentic self, the easier it is to meet people more deeply. And so your authentic self is constantly regenerating, in a state of flux and transformation, and endlessly creative and endlessly powerful. You have so much to give the world by just being you. And I know a lot of these are kind of generalizations, but I think that's because for each of you watching this, you know, the unique gifts that you have are going to be different from someone else. And, you know, we all channel in different ways. Like, you know, you can do that through different creative means. You can do that through being an activist. You can do that through so many different lenses. You can do that through being an entrepreneur. You can do that through literally, and it could have nothing to do with even a job. And it could just have to do with being yourself, you know? Think about how important it is that we just have people standing up for what's right, standing up for what's true. And I feel like that's you. You are someone who, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you are going to get back up and you're going to be stronger, more loving, and more powerful for it. And this power is not rooted in ego, it's rooted in love. And it's rooted in the love of the human experience, the love of your fellow humans and the planet, the love and desire to see a more loving reality outside of you. And that is a beautiful endeavor, you know, because this vampire energy genuinely doesn't need to exist in the world. And if we knew and understood how to be more loving to ourselves, how to care for our needs and be upfront about our needs, you know, think about how often people are just like, people that are deceptive or people that are manipulative are just trying to get their needs met, but they don't know how to be upfront and honest about it. This Sea Serpent card is a spirit card, and your authentic self is one that is meant to heal your feminine energy on a spiritual level that allows you to be led by it. And that doesn't mean that you don't have any masculine energy or things like that, but your feminine energy is meant to lead you, especially when it comes to, you know, your life path and what holds meaning for you. Your authentic self is going to evolve so much over time, but the core of who you are will always stay the same. And I think that's what's so beautiful, you know, the things you care about, the people in your life, the things you're interested in, who you see yourself as, that will constantly evolve. But the core of you, the I am, that part of you will always stay the same. And your presence is so needed here. And never feel like you're doing something wrong for retreating from the world when you need to heal or when you need to, you know, nourish yourself, because it's exactly by doing that that you are able to show up more and that you are able to give more of yourself and give more authentically. Your authentic self is tapped into the greater collective, and whether you realize it or not, you are better at knowing what people need than you think. And I don't think that's necessarily conscious. Like, for example, you know, I oftentimes will get comments from you guys, which thank you, where you're like, Aso, how did you know I needed this? Or like, Aso, this is perfect timing. And like, I don't know that. I'm just following my flow. And that's how it's so perfect. We don't even have to be consciously aware of these things in order to do things perfectly. You know, I think that there is this real need within you to be a perfectionist, and I think that's one of the things that you're meant to heal, because your authentic self is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be honest and meant to be real and authentic and understanding and forgiving and compassionate in a way where, you know, you and this has been a theme in a lot of the readings, where you lead by example, but also, you know, you are able to hold greater and greater understanding and compassion and acceptance for humanity, because you've traversed your own shadows, and you know that you've walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and you know what that's like. And rather than judging others or wondering why, you know, people are the way they are, you just know that we're all dealing with our own darkness. And one thing that I've thought about a lot is that, like, you know, in the beginning of our lives, like, especially as we're growing and learning, you know, we're discovering the world, and there's so much happening and there's so much processing. But, you know, at some point things start to, I don't know if you would say slow down, but, you know, you develop and you are able to hold more. And I think that honestly, after that, for like the rest of your life, it's about how you deal with your darkness. And I think that you can really tell a lot about a person, if you're really looking, how they wear their darkness. do they hide it? Or do they have a perfectionist streak? Do they have, do they embrace it? Do they deny it? Like, and it's not your job to like go and look at other people's darkness, but you can intuit it. Like, you know, for example, oftentimes the most bright and bubbly people, you know, the ones that are the most giving often have felt a lot of pain. You know, the ones that are understanding and compassionate usually are that way because they know what it's like to be on the receiving end of hatred or malice or negativity. And I really think that you are meant to be a beacon for humanity in whatever way serves you and serves others, and be someone who is willing to stand up for those that don't have the strength or don't have the power to speak up for themselves. You know, being able to be somewhere where you can even speak out is a gift, because not everyone on the planet has that ability right now. And being willing to stand up for something, even though you know you're just one person, or you know that, you know, you can only do so much, or you know that other people are going to be annoyed by that, but you don't care because, you know what, it's not annoying to you, it's horrifying to you that, you know, there is so much injustice happening around us all the time. And I think that your authentic self is serving most powerfully when it doesn't try to force anything, doesn't try to be aggressive, but rather just, I mean, you could be aggressive sometimes. Like, I don't think there's anything, I mean, I guess it depends on like the context and why, but being vulnerable and being gentle and being open and kind can make a lot more people receptive than, you know, if you're immediately defensive or if you're immediately angry. Like, you know, a lot of people are not inherently malicious, they're just ignorant, or they're just exhausted and worried about their own things. And I think that your authentic self is one that is meant to understand that you are walking a dual path, a path of learning and discovering who you are, and in the process having more appreciation and doing and giving more of yourself to help others who have not yet had the blessing or the opportunity or even the awareness to know that they can know themselves more, be more loving, be more powerful. So who is your authentic self? They are compassionate as hell, endlessly creative. They take ownership of their desires, and they are not afraid to show up as themselves. You are not afraid to be vulnerable. You are not afraid to speak from your heart. And you are not afraid to talk about the things that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. You are not afraid to cut things out of your life that you know don't serve you. You are not afraid to face rejection when you're standing up for your principles. You are not afraid to live in alignment with your principles, and you are not afraid to walk the valley of the shadow of death over and over, because you know every time you move through it, you become more compassionate, you become more wise, you grow, you evolve, and you just become more capable of holding more and understanding more about the human experience. There are a lot of people that are so uncomfortable with their own darkness that they can't handle the darkness of others. And you're meant to alchemize that, not only your own, but show others that they can do that too. You are a powerful soul with a lot to give, and your authentic self is one that embodies your highest self always. And so I would say, if you don't have like a spiritual practice, or it doesn't have to be spiritual, but a practice that gets you in touch with yourself, I would highly recommend doing that, because your heart needs you, and you will serve best when you're led from your heart. And what your mind is meant to do is give your heart the practical know-how to implement the steps that your heart is asking of you. You're a beautiful soul and a beautiful human, and your gift this lifetime is bridging those things together so that you can be of service to others and show people that their presence does matter, their healing does matter. And you're here to show people that being the change you want to see in the world can create ripples that people don't imagine, ripples of change that people can't even imagine or can't even fathom. I think there's a lot invested in us believing as individuals that we can't do very much. And that's why it's so important that we reject that and remind ourselves that no, actually, we can do a lot. We can do even more than we've ever fathomed. And when we are led by spirit, when we are led by something greater, when we're led by our heart, by our higher self, by our principles, by our spiritual integrity, we can do so much more. And I feel like too, your authentic self is meant to find people in this lifetime that will empower, where they will not only empower you, but you will empower them to be more of yourselves. And I feel like you're also meant to work with people that you can commune with on a soul deep level, and to make more powerful change and just create more love in the world. Who's your authentic self? Creative, loving, badass, in a constant state of flux, but always growing, always learning. And one thing I will say is that if you haven't found a peaceful conclusion to anything in your life, know that that cycle isn't done yet. But I've just noticed how many circles there are in all of your cards, and it just makes me think of a sphere, which in sacred geometry, the sphere is the perfect shape. And I want you to remember that you're perfect absolutely the way that you are, and the challenges that you deal with now and understanding yourself and healing yourself and growing into more of yourself are only going to help you more down the line. And this is an energy of having it harder early on in life so that you can learn the rules of life, learn the rules of the world. Not in a way that humans dictate them, but in a way that aligns with spiritual laws and scientific stuff, and working in alignment with your own greater belief system. You are a wise, nurturing soul in progress, and you already are that, and you are continuing to become that, and you are in a constant state of becoming. And yeah, the world needs your gifts, the world needs your creativity, the world needs your heart, the world needs your discernment, the world needs you. So yeah, who's your authentic self? Great. That's who your authentic self is. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get into your tarot now. Since we've looked at that, if that resonates, this is going to be your reading. So I do just quickly want to give a big shout out to everyone who leaves the time to leave me a little like or a subscribble or a little comment about how it resonates, because those are some of the easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. I appreciate it so much. But we're going to start by looking at how to embody more of your authentic self right now. So, Spirit, how can pile 4 embody more of their authentic self right now and in the future? We have the Fool. So I feel like this is encouragement to continue embracing the new. Give me 1 second. I'm a little thirsty. I think it's really important that you have systems, routines, and activities in place that are emotionally nourishing. Your emotions are very important, and it's also very important that you are able to find or have outlets of lightness, or just things that make you feel light, things that make you feel joyful, things that make you feel new. Because especially when you're carrying heavy energies and moving through heavy energies, it can be easy to forget that we can feel light as well. I definitely think that whatever you have been considering doing, whether it's trying new things and going somewhere new, moving house, or just small things like doing your routine differently, implementing things that make you feel light and fun. I feel like at times you may favor the collective over your own healing, and that's actually imbalanced. You're meant to put on your own oxygen mask first and then help others. So this Fool card is a lot about you remembering that you don't have to have it all figured out, and that embodying the authenticity of just embracing the fact that you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. And that when you're meant to know something, you will. And that just because you have this sense of power or you have the ability to do so much for others doesn't mean that you neglect your own joy and fun in the process, because other people need to know that it's okay to just do things that are fun, to just do things that are silly. Like, for example, shout out to everyone who came to my live recently with K Moon. Like, I am just so convinced now, like, that my audience is just a perfectly curated to just people that are the vibe, because like the chat was so fun and so funny. And I think that, you know, we forget sometimes that wisdom can and silly fun can coexist, and that, like, you know, powerful, deep, intense spiritual experiences can also be balanced out by light and joy and fun. So I think one big way that you can embody more of your authentic self is just not deny the part of you that just wants to be silly and have fun, not deny the part of you that needs to feel light sometimes, and that just needs to feel like the new is always here. So in whatever ways you can bring about the new in your own life, do that. You know, if you can change your routine, whatever you can do to make your life a little bit lighter, do that. I also think that this is an encouragement to just go outside more, especially as, well, at least in the northern hemisphere, we're moving into spring. Like, well, if you're watching this as I'm uploading it, you know, observing how fresh, how life is renewing, you know. Mother Nature is in a constant state of cycle and renewal, and so you can really observe that and understand that, like, yeah, you will grow leaves and they will fall to the ground and your branches will be bare, and then guess what? You'll grow new ones, and you'll do it again and again and again and again and again. And yeah, so I definitely think the way that you can embody more of your authentic self is stop putting so much pressure on yourself and just let yourself be a silly goose. Let yourself do things for the sake of just having fun. Let yourself laugh, and don't put those things on the back burner out of a belief that it's frivolous or selfish to do that, because it's actually very necessary when you are navigating dark, difficult terrain to do things that bring you joy and that let you laugh and let you feel good, because it's really hard to carry those dense energies. So remember that. But I want to see now how you can remove blockages around your authentic self. So Spirit, how can pile for judge? Stop judging yourself. Stop assuming that you know what you need to do. I actually think, and this is so beautiful, because this is like half spirit, half human, except it's an animal. I definitely think this is all about you embracing transformation and embracing the fact that you don't need to know how you need to transform. You just need to move through energies. Judgment is literally connected to Pluto. Judgment is the energy of, like, resurrection. In the typical writer way, it depicts the resurrection, right? So a big way that you can remove blockages is just move through what the universe is asking you to let go of. Move through the energies you're dealing with right now, and accept the fact that you're only seeing half the picture. Accept the things that are dying and decaying, and take the steps necessary to implement releasing them and letting them die. And also start looking at, where is new life trying to reach me? Where is the light trying to reach me? I also think, though, one big way you can remove blockages is by looking at how you judge other people and how you are frustrated by other people, and asking, how can I have compassion for them and their experience? How can I, and even if I can't muster the strength for that, how can I be there for myself when I do feel that way, so I don't allow it to take up so much of my time and energy? I feel like this is a lot about recognizing that it's okay to only see half the picture. And I love how similar this Judgment card is to the Judge card. It's like remembering that you're only seeing half of the picture of anyone, including yourself, and that the things that you judge yourself harshly for, like, I should be able to show up more, or I should be able to do more, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just be able to give yourself a damn break and just do things that you feel good about and that make you feel good sometimes. Maybe you just deserve to have a little rest on your journey as you uncover more of yourself and evolve. This is a lot about you realizing that the way you judge others, you still judge yourself. And the more understanding and compassion you have for yourself, the more you will have for others as well. And the more you will realize it's really hypocritical of me to place these unrealistic expectations and shame myself for not being able to give more of myself, or not being able to, you know, surrender more of myself, when in reality you're not meant to be a martyr. You're not meant to just be a workhorse in the name of, you know, the causes you care about. You're also meant to be a human being and have your human experiences and learn and grow from those. So definitely continue embracing where these transformations are taking you, and rather than writing stories about what you think they mean or shaming yourself for not having the responses you think you should have, start observing your responses and seeing what those are trying to tell you. There could be a lot of wisdom and information there. And a lot of times when we're moving through our own heavy transits and like our own heavy energies, we just don't have as much energy to give of others, because we need that energy to care for ourselves, and that's okay. Do what you need to do without shaming yourself for it, because you'll realize in hindsight, oh wow, I made that situation way harder on myself than I needed to be. And if I had just been maybe more gentle and compassionate with myself as I move through, you know, these cycles, I could have maybe moved through it more quickly and struggled less as I did that. So I want to see how embodying your authentic self will change the world. So Pile 4's authentic self, Spirit. How can embodying their authentic self change the world? We have the Nine of Pentacles. Consistent service. This is beautiful. You are meant to show others that whatever they are working towards, whether it's progress in a social cause, whether it's just healing more and becoming a more solid, stable, consistent version of yourself, you are inspiring people to realize that even if it takes a long time, even if it takes more length than we'd like, you can make progress and you can do and be more than you thought. I feel like you are here to inspire people that have been stuck in cycles that they haven't been able to get out of for a really long time. Realize like, oh, I can switch things up, and actually when I put my mind to something, I can do so much more than I thought, and I don't need to put a timeline on it. I can just consistently show up every day. I feel like you're here to show people that change doesn't have to be drastic, change doesn't have to be unrealistic, and change doesn't have to happen overnight. And that in fact, it's those small changes that we make in the moment, those choices that we make every day to do something differently, to do something more kindly, to do something that is more aligned with the person we want to be now and the person we want to be in the future, rather than who we thought we were, is going to help and make a difference. I feel like you're here to remind people that just because they don't see their value, or they don't see what they're capable of doing or what they're capable of achieving, doesn't mean that they can't. And in fact, when they commit to something that matters, they can move mountains. You know, I love the phrase that love can move mountains. And I feel like more than anything, you are meant to wake a lot of people up that are maybe stuck in autopilot or stuck in this belief system that they can't do more, or they can't be more, or they're not good enough, or they'll never be, you know, they can never follow their dreams or anything like that. You're meant to say, actually, Ellen, that's not true. And that's been like the phrase of this reading. I hope Dakota Johnson subscribed. But anyway, this is about you showing people that change doesn't, that even just small changes can make a huge difference. And the things we judge ourselves for, the things we believe make us flawed or bad or unworthy are not things that define who we are. They're things that can make us, that can stretch us and stretch our capacity to love ourselves more. And they're also things that can help us grow and learn and you know, be more compassionate to other people's shortcomings and show other people that slow and steady really can win the race. Like, you know, this, I was thinking of the tortoise and the hare as I was channeling, and I really think that you're meant to show people that just because progress doesn't happen overnight, or you don't see that happen overnight doesn't mean it's not happening. I mean, you don't plant a seed for it to bloom the next day. It requires tending, it requires care, and it certainly can't grow if you're digging it up every single day, being like, where are you? Are you gonna grow? No, you have to be gentle, you have to be patient. And I feel like you're meant to show people that by being the change they want to see, they can create a ripple effect, and they can create so much more change. And so, you know, with this little, like, this kind of looks like a daisy, but I mean, it could be any flower, I don't know. Like, you know, people might only see what they can do in their own effect, but it's like, you know, if you inspire 20 people to bloom their flower, now you got a whole dang meadow. So one way that you can change the world is show people how, like, with consistent, solid effort and with patience and understanding and the willingness to take action in the now and in the present, that we can create powerful ripple effects in the world, and show people that we don't have to do things the way that they were always done, and that we don't have to push for overnight change, especially when sometimes that can be unstable. Like, sometimes the best forms of change need time to be nurtured, and I think that you're meant to inspire other people to take consistent action to be a more loving and more authentic version of themselves in the world, and I think that's so beautiful. So let's look at what blessings you will receive from embodying your authentic self. So what blessings will pile 4 receive from embodying their authenticity, spirit? The Queen of Swords. This is beautiful. So I really feel like this is kind of that judge energy. I feel like this is the gift of recognizing when you don't need to be in your heart about something, when you don't need to take something to heart. This Queen of Swords is about you being discerning and recognizing when something is not worth your time and energy, or when something needs to be cut out, or when something is just not for you. I also think, though, one of the blessings to come from this is that you will be less harsh on yourself and empower yourself in ways to be like, you know, when you are saying something negative or critical to yourself, be like, how can I change my mindset? How can I say things more compassionately? I also think, though, that one of the blessings to come from this is that I think you'll be able to connect more deeply with people that you've wanted to connect with, that maybe have been kind of pushing you out a little bit, or have been unwilling to, you know, commune. People that are kind of in their head. I think that you can show them the power of being in their heart, and recognizing that they don't have to be cold, they don't have to be detached, they don't have to be removed, and show people that apathy isn't the flex we think it is. Nihilism isn't the flex people think it is. And I feel like you're here, or the blessing of this is here to show you where you can spend less time and energy focusing because it doesn't serve you, but also realize that a lot of the coldness or the ego or the projections of the outside world are just a wounded inner self trying to feel safe in this crazy ass world. This is about you learning to be an effective communicator and communicate both truthfully and compassionately, but without being bulldozed, without being walked all over, without being taken advantage of. This is about you establishing healthy boundaries, not only with others, but with yourself, and recognizing what self-destructive patterns and habits don't serve you. I also think that this is about being unapologetic about your truth, standing up for what you care about, standing up for what you believe in, even if other people don't understand it, and even if other people, you know, feel like what you're doing is wrong or not, or whatever. Instead of taking that to heart, just realizing, like, you know, that's your path, that's fine. I feel like this is an attunement of your mental body where you're going to be much more effective at recognizing where productive and unproductive modes of being, modes of believing, modes of acting, modes of communicating are, so that you can just be a more effective human being and recognize, when do I need to be more stern? When do I need to be more compassionate? What me is needed here? And rather than like being calculated about it, I feel like you'll just know intuitively. It'll be just this sense of discernment where you're like, okay, I think it's gonna, and you'll trust intuitively, like, okay, I think I need to be a little bit more firm with this person, or I feel like I need to communicate in a more grounded or practical way with this group. Like, I think that this is a lot about you seeing how you communicate with yourself and how your belief systems affect your ability to be kind to yourself, affect your ability to be kind to others, and affect your ability to share more of yourself, because I feel like you really are meant to share more of yourself. And not everyone is meant to have access to your heart. Not everyone is meant to have access to your vulnerability, because not everyone gets the benefit from it that they should. Some people will use that for their own advantage, and some people will use that to try to manipulate you. And I think the blessing of embracing this authenticity and realizing that that other people don't know what you need, and other people are not entitled to your time and energy despite what they may tell you, I think it will just help you be better at setting boundaries for yourself, and you will just be able to move through your path with more grace and more acceptance and more understanding and less anxiety, less uncertainty, less shame, less judgment of yourself and others, because you're giving yourself the peace of knowing you're doing the best you can with the knowledge you have, and you have the strength and the power to say no, to do things differently, and to learn from each experience, whether it's positive or negative. You alchemize all of it into gold, and that is the biggest blessing there is. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with a message from Mother Gaia. I want to give a big shout out to whoever recommended this deck for me. I really hope you're watching. I'm sorry, I forgot your username. But whoever did, they recommended this Sacred Earth Oracle deck to me, and it's a really awesome deck, and I really love it. So you were right in thinking that I would like this deck. I very much do. So Miss Mother Earth, Miss Gaia, what guidance do you have for Pile 4 at this time? What does Pile 4 need to know that could be aligned with their highest good at the time they are watching this reading? We have listened. Beautiful. Okay. Getting stuffed up. You can talk yourself in circles, but remain unheard. At other times, you can be heard without uttering a word. The onus of understanding is on the listener. Love, care, and consideration are expressed by an attentive ear and a welcoming heart. Sound is wasted on those that won't hear. Save your voice. You will learn more by listening. A truth needs to be heard. Yeah, I feel like this Queen of Swords is pretty much just going into this. Sound existed long before the ability to perceive it. It was always there, invisible, undetected, or merely felt as low, deep waves of vibration. The universe loves you. Its message is humming, pulsing, and vibrating through all of creation. Love's undulation floats in empty space, waiting to be received. Extend your senses. Awaken to the message of the universe. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there, does it make a sound? If it doesn't, it means that the first 4.1 billion years on Earth happened in silence. That's how long it took for sound to be perceived. Sight, taste, touch, and scent were already well developed before the earliest of ears were formed. The sense organ that receives sound is complicated. Hearing, it seems, was a difficult sense to master. Once life could move at will, being able to sense the approach of a predator, the distress of potential prey, or the call of a mate was extremely beneficial. For the human ear in the modern world, all manners of bips, beeps, ticks, talks, and sirens compete for our focus. We have the capacity to be taken to ecstasy by a symphony, but hearing and being heard can still be a tremendous challenge. Tone, pitch, tremolo, I don't know, and words are just sound and empty space until the moment they are heard, which is so beautiful. I definitely think the more you listen to yourself, the easier it will be to share more of yourself, and the more you listen, the more you can be heard. So Pile 4, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that's one of the simplest and easiest ways to show appreciation for my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. If you would like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASA 10% off. You can check out my merch. You can check out my social media or other videos, especially ones with extendeds. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all those are really helpful. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being yourself, and thank you for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!